Hello.
Hi, Drew. Nice shirt.
Thank you. I thought I better wear it out. It's good that the microphone actually covers up a bit of the stain I've got here. A little bit.
No. What? I actually, you know what? I don't know if I even want to ask what kind of stain.
Food, I dare say.
That's okay. That's fine.
Or it might be something from my son as well. That's
I just realized I'm in the background. Pointing at you. I'm like, who is that behind you?
Oh. It's funny because I usually like playing something on the TV in the back, and that's why I said in Discord one more sec, because my PS5 controller was flat, so I had to go and charge that to get to YouTube to search Carpool Gaming. And,
it's always out of batteries, that thing, man. It can't hold a charge worth nothing.
No,
you gotta
really
get a Wii U Pro controller.
Yeah, no, it really can't. It's always flat. But this is the big expensive one too. So it's even worse for battery. No. But yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
No. PlayStation, you know, can't be trusted. Can't be trusted.
Yeah, maybe I should use the Xbox instead.
Yeah. Do you actually use that TV like that? Like, is it work for you in that position, or is it mainly there for the camera angle? Like, because I wouldn't play games like this. Like, this is not what I would do in this room.
Oh no, like it's on wheels. I just drag it around.
Oh, that is very cool.
Yeah, no, okay. Yeah. I don't just play it right there. I can.
Yeah.
I usually put it in the
my first thought when I saw that. I'm like, I would not be at my computer and go okay, hang on. Okay, cool. Yeah, I had fun.
Sometimes I drag it around the side as a second monitor as well. And
that's pretty cool.
I take it in the lounge room, take it in the bedroom, just at the end of the bed, so I can
just
play
everywhere.
There. Yeah, no,
you can
awesome.
Attach it like a leach, like a around your waist, kind of like a dog. Just have it kind of
do you remember the Teletubbies? I can be one of them.
I would kind of expect you to have already cosplayed as a Teletubby by now.
Oh, I don't know how to feel about that.
Sure, you have.
Well,
no, it just
seems
like something
Teletubby would it be? I'll be Poe, like the little one, little red one.
I don't know any of their names.
Tinky Winky, Dipsy, something Poe. I forgot one.
They didn't have TV when I was a child, Drew.
Yeah, fair enough.
We were just reading the Sunday funnies,
I just remember that real creepy sun.
Yeah, no, don't know too much about that. They're Teletubbies. Was there? I thought they were all just different colors, just different weird, shapely men in costumes.
Yeah, I didn't know whether your kids were into it or not, but it's obviously obviously not hit with the kids anymore.
No, Bluey. We're all about Bluey, man.
Yeah,
we're all learning a little something about Australia's best export.
Yeah, no, that for real though. I watched it because my son's too young to really be into it.
Yeah, no,
we were watching it. We were really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's good for the rest of us, man. Took me about a year to realize Bluey was a girl. But that's just challenging my old man brain just altogether. Like, oh, a girl can be blue. How about that? Huh? Look at me assuming things. Again.
Yeah, that's crazy. 2023 is just
I know.
Oh God, hard to keep up.
I know. Bluey's a girl. What? Oh my gosh.
No, it's great to have you here, Sean. It's nice to be able to talk to you again. It's been too long. Been far too long.
It's been a bit. I don't ever feel like it has, but it has been. Because we both put out content out there and we're in each other's circles. But it's Is this the thing, by the way? Is this? Are we in the show?
Yeah. Well, what I started doing is when I was editing, I found that it was actually cool to just lead into it rather than just a hard start.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, that actually works quite well.
Myself. Yeah, I'm doing the thing that people would do to me on We the Gamercast. Is this a show? And be like, haha, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so now roles reversed. Bloody gotcha.
Yeah. Feels good.
Yeah. It's just no, this isn't the show yet, Sean. Tell us all your dark secrets. What you got? What's bubbling up in that brain of yours?
I tell you anyways, man. It's all the same to me.
Yeah. That's already a lot that's out there anyway. If you really want to dig into Sean's dark past, he's been podcasting since 2014. Is that how long you've been podcasting for?
2015. Yeah, and it's so funny. Technically 2015, but it was December 15th, I think, was the first episode. So yeah, 2015. So going on 8 years now. So yeah, been at it for a bit.
Yeah, bloody seasoned veteran over here, almost hit the 10-year mark in the podcasting realm.
Crazy, just like that, man. Just like, I don't know. It's weird to think about because there's phases across the entire time, right? Like there's these chunks of time that are fairly similar, but if you look back far enough, you go like, it's almost unrecognizable, like what we're doing now versus what we were doing 3 years ago. Like, you're wearing the Carpool Gaming shirt and it's like Carpool Gaming wasn't a thing 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It was Yumi Capri, and before that it was Make Us Better, and before that it wasn't anything at all. Like there wasn't a thing. So yeah, it's really interesting how like gradually but still significantly things can change. And I don't know if that says more about the way that I do things or not, but I don't know. Do you feel the same? Like, you've been doing this for a long time too, but do you feel like the phases are there, they're identifiable? I mean, now like you're solo, so that's new.
That's a pretty drastic phase.
Yeah.
Pretty different change, but yeah, it's weird like listening to yourself in the past because I've got a different voice. It's strange. Even though I was in my mid-20s or whatever when I started.
It's just a baby.
Yeah, like I literally, my voice changed. And you wouldn't think that it'll be that drastic. But it is weird like recording your conversations in the past because you've got that just moment in time just encapsulated. But you don't think about it at the time until it comes across, might come across your feed and you're like, oh my God. A bit like, I guess, Facebook memories or whatever. They come up just when it's like least expected and you're like, huh. Yeah.
10 years, huh? Wow. Feel like beautiful, but at the same time, like, goodness gracious. I'm very sensitive to that lately, though, of like just the passage of time and how quickly things can move along. And, kids will definitely do that for you. You blink and then they're, reading or they're doing whatever, some major milestone. And, it doesn't even have to be like anything crazy, like riding a bike or anything. It's just like, they're one day they're in diapers and the next day they're not in diapers, and, they're potty trained, and then they're talking back to you, and then they're creating explosives in the basement. You're not sure if they're going to be the next serial killer. So, I mean, things escalate very quickly.
Right.
You know the story. You know how it goes, Drew.
Yeah, well, I'm sort of amongst that at the moment. Just my son's 18 months now. Yeah. So, yeah, I look back at, we had a photo shoot and we've got photos up in our hallway. And every time you go past him, oh my God, he was so small. I held him with like one hand.
Totally.
Now, if I held him in one hand, it'd be like flopping over each side like a big salmon, just trying to hold him up.
Oh God. You got to support their whole back now. You don't want to like split them in two or anything, man. You gotta help them out. I have a very specific memory of vacuuming our house with Lincoln in one hand and me just vacuuming with the other hand. And like how sore my forearm got just kind of like holding them, but still I could do it. Like I was probably shouldn't have. I don't know what I was doing, but none of us really know what we're doing when we have a baby that small.
Yeah,
just trying to help.
Trying to get by, actually.
Pretty much.
Clean the house and just
clean the house. The dogs were making a mess, we got all the furries around everywhere. Not those kind of furries, just like a bunch of dogs.
But just all these furries just in the house. Like, what are you doing here?
It's been a good 8-year run. Goodness gracious.
Oh, yeah. No, that's definitely put something in my mind. But I guess before we get too far in, everybody, welcome to Sleepover at the House of Mario this week. We got Sean Capri from Carpool Gaming. Really pleased to have him here. And this is something I've been looking forward to when I started the show. Just like I need excuses just to talk to friends, especially in different time zones. It's hard to get it worked out. So here we are. Here's our excuse, and we're sitting down having a chat.
Well, you had that chart you sent over of the time zones is like, I've needed that for a very long time. I need to just like understand, because it's Friday for me. It's Saturday afternoon for you. And this is how, I don't know. Do you find it like this for most people over here that like Friday, Saturday is the best time? Or because like you need to have a weekend, like you need to, if we're going to be in the evening, you can't be just like doing it in the middle of farming over there.
For the most part. Yeah, I can't do it during the week, but I'll try and make it work. Since I'm annoying people, being like, "Hey, you want to talk to me? Please talk."
Not at all. No, do you feel that way? I don't. It doesn't come across that way at all.
Not really. No, depends who it. If somebody said like, "Oh, look, mate, you really put me out."
Seth, yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. Or Bryce, like, really? I gotta come over.
So really got to talk to you again, or I thought we stopped that.
Damn. Yeah, I specifically said no more, but okay. Episode 2.
Episode 2. Here we go. Right back into it.
Yeah.
So you've been doing
it,
like a bunch of stuff with like your content and that. It's been going really great over the last year. So how do you feel about what's going on over in your neck of the woods?
I feel like I feel comfortable but not in a like we're not resting on our laurels in any way. Like I just feel maybe comfortable is not really the word, but like I do feel a confidence. But it's funny now that you bring it up, and I don't want to get us too far off track here. I do want to come back to that. That's a good question. But I wanted to like talk to you about something that just happened just before we started recording. A good friend of mine reached out to me and he said, "Tell me you're playing Starfield." And I'm like, I'm not. The game doesn't come out for another like 20 days or something like that. Like are people playing Starfield? And he goes, yeah, it looks like codes are going out. And we don't typically get codes from Bethesda. Like the Bethesda stuff is taken care of pretty separately from Xbox Canada, who has over the years been very, very kind to the Xbox Drive and to Carpool gaming in general. And I have to admit, like, for a split second, it was like, it was like, you got that stinging feel like, somebody else gets it and we're not getting the thing. And I was taking my brother's dog out for a walk. I'm taking care of his dog. And I was just on my walk and I'm like, this doesn't actually bother me. Like it was the initial sting that somebody else got the thing and we didn't get the thing. And there's that like have and have not kind of feeling. And that initial reaction is a very common and I guess natural one to go like, oh, like what's wrong with us and blah, 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 blah. But it evaporated very quickly. And so I guess to like loop it back to your question, like that's how I'm feeling about the content is that I feel like we've genuinely, or at least I'll speak for me, like I've genuinely moved past any attaching my own like value to getting stuff from like whatever it is, whether it's merch or games or whatever. Like there was definitely a time where I thought that was the goal. And today was a nice reminder that it's not the goal. And, people are super active in the Discord and they join us on streams and they post questions. And just before I was coming on here, I'm prepping for a Patreon exclusive episode that I'll be doing Q&A for the Pants Patreon podcast for Patrons Podcast. It's my turn. And there's a ton of questions over there that I get to go answer there. So it's like, if I just focus on that stuff, then all this other junk just like it really does just evaporate away. And that is so gratifying to not have to worry about it. Like, does it suck we don't get it? Maybe, but like honestly, I'm not ready to play that game yet. If they sent it to me, I'd be in a conundrum. I'd be like, I just bought Baldur's Gate for some stupid reason. And so I've got like I've got a small amount of time already to play that enormous game. So yeah, if they had sent me early access, I'd be like, I probably would have sent it over to Ryan or Garrett or Cord or somebody on the team to go play it. So that initial reaction wasn't logical at all. It was purely emotional. But if I really start to think about it, it's like I wouldn't play it. I'd probably give it to somebody else. So feeling any form of inadequacy or anything even remotely close to that is like it's so stupid because so much other stuff is going so well. Like I got asked to be on a show with a wonderful Southeast Australian podcaster over here, just a wonderful human being. So like that's generally like overall, that's how I'm doing. Yeah, that's how things are going.
Well, that's great. I think a lot of people that listen to you will tell you that you guys do awesome stuff. So you don't need Bethesda to be like, oh, you're doing a great job. Here's our game to be a part of our marketing system. So,
but also like, what is it even based on? Like, if they were to say that, like, what would that be based on? It'd be based on numbers, which means that like something was done to, I don't know, like figure out how to get more numbers, I guess. Like that, to me, I can't even, I'm having a hard time even describing it because it's so nonsensical. It's so disconnected from doing something you love. Like you have to walk away from that for a second and go over to, okay, what do I got to do to get this number thing up so that I can get Bethesda to take notice of us so that they think that we're cool. It's like they don't know if anybody's good at what they do or if they're passionate. They just look, for the most part from a surface level to get their attention. It's like you either know somebody, who I was very lucky to have known people to bring, I think, Xbox to our attention and those kinds of things. but like otherwise it's a numbers game. And how high school is that? Like we're all just like voluntarily participating in a high school popularity contest that's now global, and the requirements are so high, and you kind of, I don't know, like who knows what you have to do to get there. Like, not saying that everybody who achieves high numbers and things like that are doing anything shady, but it's just like, I don't know. Like it's not what I want to do anyways. And kudos to anybody who's able to manage to do it. But I'd love to dive in deep into those minds and go, what is that like? How are you doing? Has this brought you happiness? And hopefully it has. I hope that it has. But for me, the happiness comes from the fact that you wanted to chat with me tonight, and that I haven't scared Lockleth and Seth off, or especially Lockleth. Yeah. I think we're one episode away from maybe losing her. We'll see. Nintendo Drive's going a little crazy these days.
She, as long as she has some food nearby and she can just sit back and listen, she'll be right. She'll be right.
Yeah, I think we're pushing our luck lately.
No, it's great you bring this up, because you bring it up in your own content as well sometimes, and I think it's a great thing just to keep in mind, especially if you're doing it as a hobby. Like you don't need, like, maybe if you're a full time, you're like, shit, I need to hit this embargo because this is the difference between, I don't know, $1,000 for a video. I don't know, whatever.
Well, when does that ever happen, though?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Anybody around us, anybody like in our circuit, like,
nah.
When are the stakes that?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, they're not. So it doesn't matter. But I feel a similar way to you, because obviously I've been away for a couple of months, but I've been lucky in the past to get media badges to PAX Australia, and the last couple of years, including this year, I've gotten rejection emails. And I think I got it like a couple of days ago. I'm like, oh.
We got both. They're like, you're accepted. Just kidding. You're rejected.
That's right. Yeah, that was a thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. PAX in America, as big and grand as it is, seems a little bit mismanaged.
Yeah. No, they're working through some stuff, but it's all good. Maybe next year. Yeah.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. That would have been great if you guys could have gone there and done that. But yeah, like it doesn't matter. It
doesn't matter.
I've bought a ticket. It's not like I can't go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some benefits to being able to maybe like cover some stuff without getting in lines, but apart from that, that's it.
Yeah, well, and I feel like sometimes I'm too black or white on this, and I shouldn't say that it doesn't matter, because that does suggest that if you get it, that doesn't matter either. Like, and that's not what I'm trying to say either. What I'm trying to say is that if you don't get it, it's not a detractor. It's not an implication of your value or lack of value. Like, that's all I'm focusing on. Like, if you get it, like, that's awesome. Like, I've gotten things like that too. And it feels great. And it does allow you to do very cool stuff. Like, I feel like I haven't really been able to articulate like the other side of it. It's just, if you don't get it, don't let it ruin your day or your week, or like, don't let it cause you to question everything that you do. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this anymore, like, because I didn't get the thing. Like, that's what I'm trying to say, like, that it doesn't matter. But if you get it, good on you, man. Go have a great time and go make the best of that opportunity. That's awesome. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Because like, so this isn't why you make content, to get your free stuff and all that. And sometimes, like, especially on the Nintendo Drive, you might be upset with Nintendo and not be enjoying gaming all that much. But what does draw you to doing carpool gaming and podcasting if some other things aren't lining up? What draws you just to want to chat online for people to listen to?
It's a really good question. We might have to sit in this for a little bit, honestly, because I remember I was chatting with one of the guests on We the Gamercast a long time ago, and he was his name is Victor Lucas, and he does reviews on the run. He has a YouTube channel up here. He's very famous in Canadian land. There's statues of him up in here, like ice statues.
Oh, statues.
It's not a real thing.
Okay.
But he was the first one to kind of like, and he's been there, like, he's made TV, like, he's done the whole thing. And he was the first one to kind of like allude to this notion that don't make the end goal this free stuff. And I'm like, got it. What do you mean? I understood the words that he was saying, but I didn't understand, if not that, then what? And that's kind of your question here as well. And, like, I feel like at an overall level, this helps me just satisfy such a creative muscle, a creative itch that I have and have always, and probably will always have. So that I think is probably the top tier reason to do the thing is that. The other thing that I've also come to realize, and I think it was Court who brought this mostly to my attention as we were getting ready to go live for the recent Carpool Gaming Days back in April. And I'm in my, like, we're jumping on a video call, and he's like, "How you doing, man?" I'm in my command center. I'm getting everything ready, and we've got a big day and all these announcements, and everything's got to line up. And he's looking at me and he goes like, "You really love this, don't you?" And I'm like, "I really do." And it wasn't the arrangement of it. It wasn't necessarily like whatever was going to come out of Carpool Gaming Days. It was, I guess, putting on an event, like putting on something that would bring joy and delight to other people. Because when I made that connection, Court said that there for Carpool Gaming Days. And one thing that I used to do, we started this in 2006. So like really, I think before YouTube was really a thing, we would celebrate my birthday in the summer. And we would set up cameras all around the backyard, and we would have drinking contests. We called it the Team Awesome Reality TV Show, aka Sean's Birthday Bash 2006. And we put two giant teams up against each other and put them in like a Survivor style reality TV show where they had to do like different challenges. And at one point they had to find my stolen car that was in the neighborhood somewhere. So they had to wander around with a map to different locations. And so it was like this thing that me and my best friend, neighbor Matt, who I've often talked about, we just like, we would stay up until 4 a.m. coming up with ideas for the Team Awesome Reality TV show. And it was just so fun to like, we would wake up my parents. We were laughing until all hours of the night going like, what if we did this? And just go, that is too much. And the other thing that we did too is it was a lot of video production, both on the front end and on the back end. We ended up making a DVD out of the whole thing. We filmed the whole day and made a whole thing of it. But also in order to kind of instruct people how to do the challenges, we shot our own videos that were like instructions, but they were also goofy as all get out kind of stuff. So we had a ton of fun just doing that. So we got to have, 40, 50, 60 people in my parents' backyard. And we hauled out these, the old TVs that you had back in 2006. And you had people like watch these 5-minute videos and then go have a great time. And that is really intoxicating. If you can nail that, it's really fun to do. So I actually think that may be as close to an answer or comparison for what we do with Carpool Gaming is you love being able to come up with an idea that literally doesn't exist, or like it's a mind, it's a thought, it's something in the air, and then you articulate it to a friend like Ryan or Seth or Lockleth or anybody, like, and then it comes to life. And it's like, if we didn't have that conversation, if we didn't have these tools, if we didn't, prioritize it in this way, then Tuesday would have been just a Tuesday. But instead we changed that Tuesday, or tonight we change tonight. Like this is different than what we would be doing otherwise at this very moment, because you had the idea to do the sleepover thing and I got to be at this point. And I think that's fascinating. I think it's really interesting to have that kind of impact on what's happening right now. I think I actually don't think I've explored it in that way, but that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, just have like a creative endeavor sort of shape, I guess, your schedule, and eventually over time very much who you are, which is interesting. But
that wasn't the goal. That definitely was not
yeah, probably not.
It wasn't like, I'm gonna find myself. I never looked at it like wandering into a rainforest for on a spirit journey or anything. But yeah, that's what happened, I guess.
Yeah, because it's pretty cool how you bring up what you did as a kid doing the home videos.
Oh yeah,
and
I was an adult in 2006, dude.
Oh yeah,
I wasn't a kid. 2006. I was pretty. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, 2006 for me is
that was college, dude.
I was year 6 in school.
Yeah,
that's what. Yeah, sorry.
No,
I forget sometimes. I honestly forget. Yeah. Yes, I already feel old, even though I'm 28, which sounds, or 29.
I get it.
It sounds so dumb, but I even like think about my partner. She's 26. I'm like, oh, you're so like. I think of her as young, but I'm like, I'm not that much older.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I feel old, but it's just something internal in me. But just with what you were doing with the home videos, I remember when I was a kid, I had this little tape player, and it had 2 microphones on it. And I used to love just like recording sounds and the TV and things with it. And I didn't think about this until maybe a couple of years later. or years ago. And I was thinking, maybe that's why I sort of ended up in this hobby now, because
Big
it's something
time.
that I was interested in like at a real young age when I had the real primitive equipment. Just it was like a little kids thing with like all colored buttons and that.
Yeah,
Um, but it was I used to carry it around and record the TV, and we used to take our cassettes into school and play them for the
I love
class.
it. Yeah, man.
It was just a bit of music and a bit of current affair and a bit of just crap from the TV, but it's something that I really enjoyed. So maybe that's where it comes to now as a
I have no doubt.
yeah.
I think part of it is like there's a familiarity that you build with technology and a comfort level you have with like the tools and everything, and you get that creativity and the dopamine kind of fix. But speaking of being old, like I think about um, doing this might be in a way trying to relive that a little bit. Like how fun was that to do as a child? And I talk about this too. I talked about it on the Nintendo Drive earlier this week. Like Lincoln wakes up and just is like he's the happiest kid, and he was fishing in Animal Crossing and he caught a sea bass and he was stoked. It's like the most common fish in the game, and he's just like, yes, I caught this fish. And I feel like there is a time when hopefully many of us have had that in our childhoods, and like that,
Mm.
whether you think about that specifically, I doubt it, but it's there. There is a memory of a time in our lives where like everything was awesome. Like the Lego song was playing in our heads all day, every day. You woke up and it's just like, what are we gonna do today? And that is great. So maybe there's something about that, like in our adult years when we actually have agency in our lives. We have choice of what we can do, but we have so many responsibilities that the where we can practice that agency is very limited. But in that short amount of time that we have, we go like, I'd like to use that in a way that brings me back in that way, to brings me back to some of that joy that I had. And if there's a familiarity with creativity and technology and stuff, then it's kind of a nice, easy fit. And especially everybody makes a podcast now. So it's like, just do that, like it's right there in front of you. So do that.
Yeah, it's interesting because you think that a podcast wouldn't be that creative looking at it from the outside. You know, you come down, you sit down, and you talk about it, but it really is. It gets a lot of my chest when it comes to wanting to do things. Because as a farmer, I'm not creative. Just doing physical labor. So this is it's pretty important to me just for like mental health aspects as just general happiness, because it just gets just really flexes a muscle that just doesn't get used anywhere else. So very thankful for it.
When you said it changed your voice, like you are different. Like who knows how you interact with everybody in your daily life because of this, I don't know. Maybe it is different. Maybe it's exactly the same. You and I think are similar on this front, where we're talkative on podcasts and then we go to our real lives and I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm not going anywhere.
I'm very much a listener. Like I can sit back and listen. Like my mum, she's a talker. So she's like, talking about, something she saw on the news. I'm like, I go to put in my opinion, and I've got to be real quick because she'll cut it off. She'll keep going.
I get it.
Which is fine. Maybe that's why I'm a listener, because I was talk to my mum a lot.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying it's definitely like it is about our upbringing. And like I had there were 4 kids in my family, and our family get-togethers weren't enormous, but they were definitely big enough that it was like, quiet now, the adults are talking, like wait your turn. I'm like, all right, I'll just wait forever. Guess I just won't ever talk. So yeah, and I think that's what maybe that's, I don't know about you, but I'll maybe just speak for me. Like that's what is really compelling about podcasting is you get your turn. You get your turn to talk, and where in the past you didn't really get that turn to explore a thought. Even the way that I answer one of the questions before, like that, I've been very purposeful about that in my day-to-day conversations too. I'm like, I don't know the answer to this. Can I just think out loud for a second? Because I don't like the first thing coming out of my mouth isn't going to be the answer, but I'd like to get there. I think there's something to that, to just want to not have to have the immediate answer right away. God, that'd be great if that was a little bit more common, just an acceptance. Like, don't know, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, that's definitely a skill that I've inherited from podcasting. Is if I want to be a little bit confident or whatever, I'll like, all right, channel your podcast persona or whatever. Like do that, speak from your chest type of thing.
Yeah,
and I reckon in high school I would have been petrified of doing like a speech at assembly or something like that.
Oh yeah.
But I wonder now if I could do it. I'll be like, all right,
Oh
just
yeah, you'd be the one to pick.
channel the
Definitely.
podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know because sometimes like I still get nervous just sitting here in front of the camera by myself. No one's in the house.
Yeah.
It's not live or anything. I still get nervous and I still do a few takes. Like I stuff up the intro or something and I just go, oh well, don't worry.
Oh, I was thinking about like putting my hands under my shirt while we chatted, if that would be okay with you.
Go for it.
Yeah. Because I saw you do it on your videos, just to be clear. I saw you somebody had commented on one of your videos, like, looks like your hands got a mind of their own. I'm like, what is he talking about? And I saw like, look at Drew, just kind of just like right up there. All right.
Yeah, well, I didn't even notice.
Man.
Yeah. I don't know. When Wacko Jacko left that comment, I'm like, I went back and had a quick look. I'm like, I didn't put my hands down my pants and like pull out a ball or something like that. Like, oh Christ!
It was interesting though. Like, and I don't know if you did it on purpose or not, but like you switched the camera angle to catch it. Like if you stayed with the front camera angle, you wouldn't have known. But it switched to the side one. It's like, look at that. All right, go Drew.
Yeah, well, it wasn't on purpose. I didn't notice. I really didn't notice.
Is it just switching it like kind of randomly? You're just kind of like
yeah. When I was that was my first time editing different camera angles. So like I put a lot of effort into like the first bit of the show and then maybe different segments or whatever. But when it's just like an hour and 20-minute video, I'm very much just like picking places like before I'm about to start talking again, I go swap it over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't want to show.
It looks great, dude. It looks great. So good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. When I put it together, I'm like, wow, this is a big step up from what I was doing before. So I was pretty chuffed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it took a long time to upload on my internet.
Did it really?
Yeah, that episode I did with Bryce, it was late on YouTube because it took like 40 hours to upload.
Good God. What kind of sizes are we talking about here?
Yeah, I couldn't get the video file very small. I don't know why it was so big. It was only in 1080, but it was like 30 gig.
Oh my God.
So I don't know.
You know, that's like more than a Blu-ray.
Yeah,
that's more. Like that, you'd be like 2 discs. You'd be like you're like doing Lord of the Rings extended editions kind of stuff.
That's here. Right. Yeah, that's like a video game, like a big longer JRPG. I'm not sure what the guy was there because the episode with Seth, that was like half the size. So I don't know what happened in the.
That's so.
But it is what it is.
That much quality just crammed.
Oh yeah, yeah. Bryce just brought that much bandwidth to the file.
I love it. Well, I want to do this kind of thing though. Like we all have so many episodes of content that we've built out there. I want to do like a commercial, like the old days, like buy a collection, order now for $29.99 and get 6 discs of We the Gamercast. You know, just have all these different tracks on it. I think we're gonna do that. I actually think I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, do it.
What is already available on podcast services around the globe. We'll burn some discs. I've been in a mood to burn some CDs lately, Drew. We'll do that a little bit.
It'd be interesting if you get like a really wicked collector's edition where the Gamercast comes with.
That's a great idea.
A minifig Sean and like a nice box with it and the artwork on the top. And
that's a great idea.
It's interesting because I don't actually have any way to play CDs or anything at the moment. I don't think anything plays. The car. The car is the only thing. Like the PlayStation and Xbox don't do CDs.
They don't do CDs? What? That's a thing?
Yeah, no. Yeah, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One didn't do CDs. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I want to test this.
I already knew because I tried putting one in
around to play it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know if I have any either. But I tried putting one in the PS4 a few years ago. And wouldn't lie to me. Yeah, right. I don't know why I was trying to play a CD.
I was going to ask you, like, what? Yeah.
I think it was like the Breath of the Wild soundtrack I got with the collector's edition. Might have been that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, apart from that, I'm not buying CDs.
No, me neither. No, that's why I want to do it because it's retro now.
Yeah, you're like,
might as well put it on vinyl.
Your kids will be like, oh, it's so cool. So cool.
Yeah, because you can't play it. Put it on cassettes. Give out a whole bunch of 8 tracks out there.
Yeah, I've never I've been interested to have a look at vinyls, but I'll never play them. Much effort. So much effort. The artwork looks nice. Be a nice poster.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like when I first got into music, it was cassettes and then CDs came out later. And I remember thinking like, look how giant this artwork is. Like how much better it felt to buy an album just because it was big artwork. But like, before that it was, I guess 8-track, but yeah, vinyl was just before that. You got these giant things They were great to collect. But I collect enough stuff, you know? Like I can't add another. I love music, but I don't think I can collect another. There's nothing else. I'm good.
I started listening to music on the iPad just so the artwork's a bit bigger, and that
Oh, yeah.
that fills that void.
That looks nice too.
Yeah, it's just
well
a
said.
bigger picture. Cool. There's a nice picture.
Look at that. Sometimes it moves. Sometimes they've got like the motion album artwork. It's like, oh yeah, that looks cool.
Yeah, I noticed that. I'm like, oh wow, 2023.
Look at us.
Look, the
I know
picture
exactly.
moves.
We're in the future. Exactly.
Christ, imagine if you could look into the future from when we were kids, and you saw just the album art move. Like, oh my god, it's like a hologram.
I try to think about that with my kids all the time. I see them with all the technology that they have available to them. And, you know, like we don't even like we talk to the TV and tell it what to play for them and how amazing that is as a parent to not have to go change the channel or go grab a VHS tape or whatever. And to just be like, not only is it Netflix or Disney or whatever else, it's like you can just say to the Google machine, like, go play this, and it puts it on. And you can start it over in an instant. Like that's amazing. So what is it going to be like for our kids when they grow up and think, oh, remember how primitive it used to be when we talked to the Google thing or the Alexa or whatever? And like, cause that'll happen. Like it'll happen sooner than I think any of us are comfortable with. But I think about that kind of stuff a lot. Like they're going to have the same conversation. I can't believe, you know, when I was a kid, we had whatever, these tablets. Like, what is that version? What's the thing that's going to make the tablets obsolete? Kind of scared. Like that's scary stuff.
Yeah, I can't say I'm thinking too much about the far future, but like you said,
I mean, like 10, 15 years. Like this, I don't even think that's that far, but maybe.
Yeah, I guess it's not. But I think about just if I had like the stuff I have now as a kid, I would have had like unlimited episodes of Thomas the Tank Engine and Bananas and Pajamas. Oh my god, I used to watch the same episodes again and again. I don't know. I think I watched Rugrats the movie probably like 4 times a day on the weekends.
Wow.
I don't know
the animation quality of Rugrats the movie. Like just they got budget now. You know, did you ever like whenever a cartoon went from TV to a movie? It's like, oh wow,
oh yeah,
the shading and everything looks amazing. South Park.
The Simpsons. I remember the Simpsons.
Simpsons especially, definitely. Yeah, man.
They stepped it up a lot. Yeah, because Rugrats used to be so crude in the early days, and going to the movies like, holy crap, they got shadows and stuff. What's going on?
So weird. So weird. Yeah.
What were some of your favorite shows as a kid?
Man, Power Rangers. Power Rangers was definitely up there. Yeah. Muppet Babies is going back a little further. That was a great cartoon. It's a good question, man. Like, am I now getting to the age where I'm like having trouble? Like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What am I saying? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was it. That was life. That was everything. Everybody's birthday party had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles birthday cake. For Halloween, we always went to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So that was king.
Would it make you feel bad if I said I watched the 2003 version?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well,
not really. Who cares?
That's the one I grew up on, and I absolutely love all the theme songs to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are so good.
Oh yeah, dude, theme songs in general, like they just because intros went away for shows. Like they used to be, you'd watch like Family Matters or Step by Step or Full House. You know, this is the whole if we were a Nintendo intro, it was like a song. It was a full production
that was
song,
wicked.
2 minutes.
That. Yeah,
and that's how shows started. It was like a whole thing. So yeah, man. No, like whatever Turtles you watch, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I guess talking about like the intros, talking about being content creators and that, we need to we can put our own 2 cents in and actually bring that back. You know, you had it with if we ran Nintendo, but all your shows like, hello, my name is Sean and I'm Ryan, and we do the Xbox Drive.
That voice. Yeah, we should do that. We should have like more of a like it explains the show in the musical lyrics. Like it kind of explains like the premise and everything, just the whole background of it. That'd be amazing. You know? Got Sean used to driving his car. Now he just screams at you from his basement whenever he's able to find a moment in between his life and kids and everything else that's going on. And Ryan's living in Toronto and he really likes RPGs and Final Fantasy 14, all this other stuff. It'd be fun.
Yeah, okay. All right, so you can clip this for Carpool Gaming, I reckon. there's a bunch of boys and a girl in a car, and they're driving around and talking games, and sometimes they talk about food and other things as well. Welcome to Carpool Gaming. Vroom.
Is that the car?
Yep, that's the
Yep. Yeah, that's what we should have. We've got like these cool, and Jonathan Brown has made the music for him, and that's great. Yeah, let's go back to explaining the show in musical style lyrics. Yes, I think that would be great. Yeah,
that is something like this. Just it's sort of it really jives with my sense of humor as well. It's just so cheesy.
Totally. Yeah, just so stupid. Like, I love stuff like that when it's just so dumb. I don't know. Like, hopefully that will never leave me, because I don't know. There's such a childish humor to it. Like, when something is so stupid, you can't help but laugh about it. That's awesome, man. I live for that.
There's a comedy group in Australia. I doubt you would have heard of them. I don't know how international they are, but they're called Auntie Donna. And their sense of humor is so dumb. There's no defending it. It's just so dumb, but it's so funny. It's
the best.
It's just like them talking in dumb voices a lot of the time. Like, that's the joke. But it's just done so well.
That's a lot of South Park, but South Park's kind of like got some smart writing underneath it all. But it really is just
smart.
They took our derbs. Like, that's so stupid. They took our derbs.
Well,
I love that.
South Park's advantage is that their animation is able to be turned around so quick, so they can be real current with what they cover.
Can you imagine? They turn around full episodes sometimes faster than we put out podcasts.
Yeah.
Like, how the hell do you do that, man?
They got a couple more people, but that's amazing.
Like 6 days, I think, is like, at least at a time, it was like a 6-day turnaround. That's crazy. Yeah. I don't know. It's funny that South Park hasn't really been targeted in a weird, like, social media kind of way. Like, nobody's really tried to take it out, I don't think.
Oh, well, good luck. I think they just like turn around and they just put it all back on you.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, thank God.
And, the smart thing about South Park is, like, they pay out everyone, so it's not just going to be against one political side or something like that. It's just everything's dumb in its own way, so they're going to cover everything, which is great.
That really came to light with the Scientology episode. And I guess, wasn't it Shaft did the voice for Chef? Wasn't that the thing? Like, it really was like Shaft, and he was a Scientologist, and they did the Scientology episode, and he's like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, that's not cool. You made fun of Scientology. And so they killed Chef in the show. Like they threw him off a cliff, and he landed like he had a terrible, terrible death. And it's just like, yeah, no, they'll make fun of the Catholic Church, the Mormon Church, Scientology, like everybody's getting made fun of on South Park. And if Shaft didn't like it, well, they're going to throw Chef off a cliff, man. It's like, that is amazing.
Yeah. Because it's, especially if you're a part of the South Park team and you don't understand that, where it's like, oh, no, you don't make fun of me. So, okay. Yeah, like, come on. Like, a celebrity being like, oh, like, being upset about it. But if you're actually a part of the team, and it's like, all right, you're not that precious. You can make fun of your beliefs.
I heard also that Alec Baldwin wanted to be in the South Park movie. Like, they have the character Alec Baldwin, or I guess like the guy, and they do an impression of him, and he offered to voice himself, and they're like, no thanks. We want to do the, our version of you, just to keep it stupid. Like, I think that's kind of amazing, actually. Like, instead of having the real guy do his own voice, they'd rather stick to the vision of that show just being so dumb and it clearly not being him. And they're going to talk about this guy like the greatest actor alive. Wasn't it Alec Baldwin? I think it was Alec Baldwin. It's not sounding right now, but maybe it was. But yeah.
Yeah, I know they made a lot of fun in Team America with Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. Yeah. Matt Damon. So, like, that's just it. That's your point of, like, just stupid voices. Yeah. Apparently, just that's all it takes for me, man. That's it.
Maybe that's what I need, just to, like I said, I was feeling older. Maybe I just need to get my youth back by just hearing people go,
That's it. That's it. Just maybe some Monty Python. You ever watch Monty Python?
Oh, a long time ago, but yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too.
No, I'm very into that type of stuff too.
Yeah.
I watched it before I understood it.
Oh, really?
Like I was a real kid. But my mum wanted to show me, because she's from the UK, so it's a movie that she was very fond of.
Oh, I remember. I don't think I knew that. That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, I watched it, like, in hindsight. I'm like, oh, that's what they're talking about.
Nice.
Because Am I remembering the right movie? I'm not sure if I am, but like
I've only seen one. I've only seen Holy Grail, and it was forever ago.
like the song, like every sperm is sacred. I can't remember what that.
I
I
don't think
can't.
I've seen that. That's amazing. Oh my god, what an idea!
Yeah. But I had no idea what that was about. I remember it just being like catchy, but the whole idea is that they're religious
The
and
meaning
that.
of life. It's from The Meaning of Life. I haven't seen that. That's hilarious.
Okay. Yeah, I remember watching that. Yeah, and I had no idea
I
what it was
love it.
about, but obviously it's about religious
Yeah.
people not wanting to waste their sperm.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
uh, but yeah, it's funny to have those things in hindsight. Just being like, wow.
Oh, dude, the things that we watched as kids or whatever that have all the euphemisms and everything, and oh, that's hilarious. Why were we watching any of that stuff? But you don't understand it, so it can't hurt you, I guess. Like they're just words.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing. You can still hear the same words, but like no meaning. Don't understand it.
I wonder how it would have changed my life if I did understand it. Being like, all right, not
Not
wasting
good, I
this
don't think.
ever. No, this is sacred.
Yeah.
This is
Oh
in-
my gosh. Oh, that's too much. That's hilarious.
Jeez Louise. So I see you've been playing Baldur's Gate 3. So what got you to jump into this? Because I saw you on Discord, you were playing it. And I got to admit, I was a little bit like, oh, surprised, because over the last few months, you've been like struggling with bigger games that are open-ended. And then you jump into Baldur's Gate 3, which is the antithesis of that very type of genre in video games. So how are you finding it? Because I basically know nothing about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know very little as well, Drew, honestly. I played it for a couple hours. I think that if I search my feelings and search my soul, the reason that I really dove into it is just to keep people like you completely guessing what the hell's going on with me.
Oh,
So just keep everybody on their toes. You think you got me figured out? Well, guess what? Baldur's Gate. I'm playing that. I'm going to do the character creator for 3 hours and maybe never touch it ever again. So who knows, man? But I definitely got swept up in the hype. Everybody, like out of nowhere, everybody's talking about Baldur's Gate. And the people who were talking to me directly about it were like, you like Dragon Age. This is your Dragon Age. Like, this is the one. So, and it just seemed like so high quality. And the thing that I like about Dragon Age that I'm getting a sense from Baldur's Gate is just like this, everybody can have their own journey. Like they can really, in the truest sense of what I think role-playing means in role-playing games, like that's what this game seems to offer. Is like you just transport into the game and now you're in this world as this character with all this other stuff going on around you. And that's actually the thing that captivates me most about the genre. Like there's obviously other styles of RPGs, JRPGs, and all these other kinds of things, but it's like nothing quite like creating a character that truly feels like you're the only one who made that character, even though surely there's another person out there with a very, very similar character, if not the exact same thing. But I don't know, like maybe that's why the character creator itself was such a good time, because it just seemed like that was the game. Like that was so fun to do. It was so weirdly personal, I guess. And I say weirdly just because like you're creating this character in this complete fantasy world. So how is that personal even at all? But just kind of giving life to this husk and then bringing like kind of piecing together their story and their class and background and their race and all this other stuff. I like that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was a combination of hype, a little bit of an open block. I didn't really have anything else that I was really pining to play, even though I have lots of options. I buy way too many games. And then and then 3 people supported me on, like, is it Ko-fi? Like I got like $15 contributed to buy this game. I'm like, I guess I'm buying Baldur's Gate. So thanks for the support, you guys. So yeah, that's basically the maybe the long and short of it. But I'm excited to jump in more, because I guess also too, I haven't had an experience like that in a while. Like that, so that feels very fresh, and I feel like I'm up for the challenge. It's not that it is open-ended and I probably won't finish it, but I'm okay with that,
Yeah.
Like it's not really, that part really isn't bothering me all that much. At least not in the moment. So yeah, just I guess that the other thing that I should say is I'm very fortunate to be able to do that sort of thing. Just like kind of on a whim, go like, yeah, I'll look at this one. You know, like because I don't really buy all the games in the world, even though that seems to be my reputation these days. Like, and I don't go anywhere. I like to say like I don't drink, I don't do black tar heroin or anything. Like every now and then I'll blow a little money on some games. So I'm very lucky that I can do that kind of thing too.
Yeah, no, I'm a similar way. I bought a few games this year where it's they've either touched the console very little or not at all. But I know I'm going to get to them, so maybe the whole thing of just maybe I should have waited, but I kind of wanted to jump in straight away. But
I probably should have waited. Like the smarter thing to do, I think, like I still think the smart thing to do on pretty much every game is to wait. Just don't get it. Like from a money perspective, definitely 9 times out of 10 the game is going to go on sale unless it's Nintendo, of course, we all know that. But also like the games are releasing in terrible shape these days. So I really wanted to make sure before I pulled the trigger on this one that Baldur's Gate was running well in it, and it's been in early access for years at this point. So it seemed like it was running in a good state and people were excited about it. So yeah. But instead of playing that, I'm talking to you.
Don't have it just off to the side, just like clicking
There's
away.
no way. There's like, I am way too simple for that kind of thing. Like, yeah, not a chance, dude. I couldn't even check my email at the same time as chatting with you, let alone playing one of the most complex games I've ever laid my eyes on, I think.
Yeah, there's part of me that would like to give it a go as well, but just like realistically, I'm like, I don't know when I'm going to fit this in over other stuff I might prefer to play.
Too much. That's too much logical thought. True.
Yeah, that's so.
It's way more than I applied.
I should just buy it.
Yeah.
Because I've got the ROG Ally. I'm thinking, what would it be like to play on that? That'd be pretty cool, actually, having that little handheld game.
Yeah. How are you liking that thing?
Yeah, I really like it. I've when it came in the start of June, and I was on like a bit of a gaming hiatus. Not really because I wanted to, but just because I was watching TV and just doing other things. But I played it a bit last week with some games on Xbox Game Pass, and yeah, really enjoyed it. It's not as easy to pick up as the Switch because it's a computer. It turns on, you got to load up the application, turn on the game. If like my son is like doing something and I'm just on the couch, you can't really just lock it. It's like closing a laptop, so it still drains battery. It's not as efficient as just like a handheld. So
yeah,
there's a lot of sort of nuances to it. And usually when I play it, I have a big battery pack. I just plug that into it as well.
Yeah,
so it's
smart.
I'll never suggest it as like a handheld if you're like going for bus trips and all that. I think that's where the Steam Deck and especially the Switch is going to be good. But I quite like it. It's just really nice to have around the house.
It looks very nice. Like I just gotta say, like the way that it looks matters a lot to me.
Same.
To be honest, slamming the PS5 because it's just an absolute abomination. Even though you weren't asking me about PlayStation 5, I still managed to get over there and just like take my shot. Just up there with one of the worst designed consoles of all time. I just gotta say it. Like what's worse? What's worse than the PS5, Drew? What is it? What comes to mind? Worst designed console. Original Xbox, maybe. It's not as bad as this.
Yeah, I don't know. See, the thing is with the PS5 is I like it vertical.
Yeah. It sits beside your house. Is that how you do that?
That's right.
It's so huge. It's huge. It's outrageous. And we're all just like, I guess we'll buy 3. Sounds good. Yeah. Who cares how enormous this thing is?
I'll just move that the way a little bit. See, I have to put it down.
Look how huge that is.
On its side there when it's on the little gaming trolley. And what really frustrates me is like when I move it around, it's on that little stand that slips underneath it and it always like falls off of it. Like
it doesn't really clip into place very well.
So I don't mind it when it's standing up, but when it's on its side, it's so dumb.
It's so dumb. Yep, I'm
dumb.
With you, man.
It's dumb.
Anyway, what were you asking me about before that? Oh, the ROG Ally. Like it looks nice. And that's the same thing with the Steam Deck. Like there may be advantages to the Steam Deck, but when I look at it, like it looks clunky. Like it just looks like the Game Gear's bigger brother, just on steroids. And the Game Gear wasn't exactly the most ergonomic looking thing. So that keeps me from really jumping at the Steam Deck. And that might be a superficial way of looking at it, but I don't care, dude. Like I wanted to, people said the same thing about the gamepad for the Wii U. It didn't look good, so I don't want to buy it. It looks like a Fisher Price toy. So I feel like that matters more than people might even let on. They just pick and choose where it's going to matter more, I guess.
Yeah. That matters for me too, but it was especially the screen on the Steam Deck. I couldn't go to the LCD screen on the Steam Deck, even
Oh yeah.
even even though I think the ROG Ally has a LCD too, but it's just so much more vibrant. Like
Hmm.
going from the Switch, I could not play the Steam Deck,
Yeah.
which is why I'm a little bit concerned about the next generation Switch having an LCD screen again.
Hmm.
Like,
I
I
never
don't know.
play handheld though. Like I think that's the other thing that I haven't jumped to one of these Allies or Steam Decks. Like I don't play my Switch handheld
Hmm.
really almost ever. Like it's almost always docked. I would love for them to have like a cheaper version that was just the console, but they'll never do it, of course. And we all wanted a Wii U without the gamepad. Remember, like we wanted it to be cheaper.
Hmm.
Take out the gamepad; it'll be that much cheaper. But alas, wasn't meant to be. If I
Yeah,
ran Nintendo,
Nintendo's like, we've got Star Fox Zero coming in 3 years. We still need the gamepad.
yeah,
We'll keep it there.
we
Nothing
almost
else will
got that
use
with
it.
Xbox One with Connect. Like it
Yeah.
was almost that. That was almost the way of Xbox One. So it would have been very similar, I think, to the Wii U. But not that it wasn't that dissimilar. But
Yeah, pretty similar situation, but I think the Wii U situation was 4 times worse for the
I
Xbox.
just set up my Wii U recently, and Drew, like that's a pain in the ass, man. Like it
Oh yeah.
sucks. There's all these cables. There's so many cables and things like, and like really it isn't, but like compared to anything else, man, it was something. That sensor bar. You got to charge the gamepad. You got the console itself. Like basically three things
Mm.
have to just like be there. So
You
it's
got
a
that
lot
massive
different.
power brick too.
Oh, I can't even like you can't push the whole like table back all the way up against the wall. You got to sit in it back there. Yeah, that wasn't good either, man.
I still remember the Xbox One power brick. Oh my god,
Oh
that was
yeah,
a you could kill someone with that. You could use that as like a ball and
yeah.
chain
I
just
bet
down the
somebody did. I wonder if there was a death caused by Xbox One power brick.
just really upset Xbox fans, been like, "Oh no, Phil Spencer, come and save us."
What if that was we should do like version of Clue? What if that was a new game of Clue? Like, oh, killed in the killed in the house of Mario with the Xbox power brick. Oh no.
Just like that little tiny metal figurine of a little Xbox power brick.
That'd be great. Yeah, and have all of us like podcasters in a Clue house of Clue. And all the little
Oh,
rooms are like, yeah, the house of Mario and the Nintendo Drive and all these other places. That'd be fun.
I'm sure
Be good.
everybody's very excited about that idea. Let's kickstart it straight away.
Sounds like a Kickstarter that's ready to go.
Yeah, it's ready to go.
Hey, we can race Hatch Tales. Maybe we'll get it out before Hatch Tales.
We'll get something up.
Yeah. Sorry.
I love the bitterness just come out.
I'm just saying, man. Where the hell is it?
Yeah, he is still working on it, isn't he? Because
I
there's
guess
some
so. We
people.
got an update, so work is
Yeah,
still
there's some
happening.
people in our community too that are like put their money down, and I hadn't heard about it until you brought it up. Whether it was
I'm
a
glad I didn't
conversation
put
with
more
me
money
or on a
down,
podcast,
but
I can't remember, but
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
it's just the nature of Kickstarter, I guess. It's a risk associated
I
with.
guess so. It felt like that was the safest one. That's the thing. I knew that was a risk, and it's like, oh, he's just gonna right click save as switch. But nah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that game has really nice art style in 3DS. Just
Oh yeah.
don't 3D it or hand draw it. Just make it work in the aspect ratio and save as,
Maybe,
easy as.
maybe it'll wait for the Switch 2.
Yeah, easy as.
You know what?
Just,
It's going to
game
launch right
developer
next to, at this rate, it's going to launch right next to Mario Maker 3. That's what's going to happen. And for people who don't know what Hatch Tales is, it's Chicken Wiggle was the original game that is being remade for the Switch. He's renamed it Hatch Tales, and it's a level editor. You can play it as a platformer, but it's basically like you can build levels in this Chicken Wiggle or Hatch Tales game. And I feel like it originally was announced right alongside the first Mario Maker. And yeah, I'm sure next one, when this game comes out, it'll go right next to the next Mario Maker 3.
When you put it in that perspective, like announced with the first Mario Maker, it's like, oh my god.
I think it was. I think Chicken Wiggle originally, like the 3DS game is what I mean. But yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was back then. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So with like earlier this year, everybody was just amongst Zelda fever, and you guys did a big long stream, 12-hour stream on Carpool Gaming on Twitch, and since then you've basically like fallen right off the game. And I just sort of want to talk about, the idea of, games being like too daunting in some ways. Because I definitely feel that with a lot of titles. Not necessarily with Zelda, but there's some other ones where, it's like, oh shit. Especially you think about other things other games you could be fitting in and all that. So
Yeah.
what sort of happened to you with Zelda? Because I think it's all well and good to hype up the game and be like, oh, it's so good and whatever. But there's
Yeah.
another side to it as well where it might not have been the experience you're looking for
Yeah.
at this time. So yeah,
This is
how
where I
did you
just
feel about
upset.
Tears of the Kingdom?
This is where I upset all of your listeners.
That's okay.
Well, maybe
I
I'm just an
I, I
old
upset
man.
them
It's
all the
not
time.
my Zelda. I do feel like to a certain extent, if I do feel, number one, before I even like go any further on this, I feel like I'm kind of grasping at straws because I don't exactly know why I fell off. I don't know if it's anything in particular about the game. So I'm just gonna kind of like explore that, I guess. But I'll maybe compare it to a game that I really like, which is Skyward Sword, which is bonkers to me because I played that game on the Wii, and there's some written review from me out there somewhere on some.com, uh, just not liking it very much for whatever reasons. And then they released it on Switch, and maybe it's just a Switch bump, but I was like, I really love this game, and I love that it is. I love this. I guess it's the relationship between Link and Zelda. That's a very cliche thing I think to say
Mm.
about Skyward Sword, but it is there. It's very present and apparent, and it's in your face, and it's heartwarming, and it's lovely, and it's a beautiful art style, and all these things. I think the art style maybe has a lot to do with it. I love that old style of you go into a place and you get the item, and then you use that item in the dungeon. Like that all
Mm.
clicks for me. There's a lot that really works there, and it's all gone in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Now, when Breath of the Wild came out, it was 2017. My son was just born, but um, I was going to work. I was taking the bus into work. So I think I had about a good 45-minute or an hour commute there and back. So 2 hours a day playing Switch. And the Switch was brand new as well. So we're all hyped about it. And I was podcasting with Bobby at the time. So it was like just all consuming, all in on that kind of thing. So there that could also be a part of it too, Drew, is Bobby's gone. And I don't know, like I find myself anytime Bobby comes up, like I don't ever want anybody to feel bad for not being Bobby, but like that's just how it is, man. Like nobody can compare. And what we did together and how we played games together and talked about it, like that was so lucky that that existed. So I think that might be a difference between Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom because, everything I talked about in Skyward Sword also isn't there in Breath of the Wild, but I was playing that for 70 or 80 hours or something. And with Tears of the Kingdom, it's like, I don't know. I can just do stuff for 50 hours and not hit any story or anything unless I really am intentional about it. And I guess I kind of just like fell off, even though for a lot of other people, that playground is very satisfying to just throw a rocket on a log and throw it like, send a Korok dude over to the other side of the planet. Like that's not what I was really looking for. Even that sounds cool. And I love seeing what other people are doing. Sometimes I don't really feel like creative enough to do that thing. So yeah, it pushed back on me. It didn't really like, Zelda disappear somewhere. Like, okay. Like I guess that part didn't really pull me in
Mm.
that they were making this discovery and oh no, I'm falling. Like, okay, did you even like each other? Like, would you like it wasn't enough for me, I guess. And this is again, I think I'm gonna just upset maybe you or anybody else listening who like just loves it. And I guess that it gets there in the end. Like people love the ending of this game,
Mm.
but it didn't grab me from a premise, I guess, is maybe another big thing where, it's not like I don't play big games. I love like Xenoblade is awesome, but the premise for Xenoblade is bonkers. It's so good. These eternal wars and these two worlds and this like they don't understand each other. And I love that stuff. And Tales of Arise is a lot like that as well, with all these different zones or districts or whatever it was, and they just operate in their way, but can you like reach and understand? There's so much premise and good story there that I guess I have to go find it in Zelda. I don't know. Like, I don't know if any of this makes any sense, but this is kind of just how I feel about Tears of the Kingdom. Like, I wanted something amazing, I guess. And maybe I could just, I should also say, like, I probably could and should go back to try to find some of that stuff. I admittedly have gotten off of it fairly early, but I did play for 12 hours straight also. So I don't know. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do, you know?
Yeah. No, it's a great point that you bring up. Just with how long ago Breath of the Wild was, it doesn't feel like that in some ways, but other ways it does. But like you were, like we'll talk about at the start of the show, you were a completely different person 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
And of course with Bobby as well, just different company, and now with you not podcasting with him anymore, it's a completely different situation for you. So maybe that sort of communal aspect isn't as strong for you, which got you through Breath of the Wild. And Breath of the Wild too, it also was a brand new experience. Doing shrines and doing the things you are doing in Tears of the Kingdom. It's improved, but it is similar presence, same sort of cycle of gameplay design. So yeah, that's fair enough too. But I was listening to you talk about it on your show, and I was thinking, like, how do you feel about like following guides? Obviously, the whole thing of just taking a Korok, oh, where does it go? And just like going around and doing that. Like, you've got things to do, places to be. 12 hours. I was the same way. Just after the first day, you're like, look at your hearts. You got like 6 hearts. Like, what have I done?
Not even. Yeah, pretty much.
And it's a similar feeling, but I guess that's just the game or whatever. But I very early on went, all right, I need to get more hearts because I am getting my ass kicked. And I pulled up a guide from IGN, and I was having so much fun just like concentrating on a region of Hyrule. And then after doing as many shrines as I can easily find, I'm like, oh, I could look up on the map. Oh, there's 3, and I mark them down. And they were usually ones that were hidden underground or a bit more obscured. And I was able to just play a lot of the game, just tracking down shrines and doing it that way. And for the most part, when I was doing that, it was helping me discover other things as I was going. I was just wondering what you thought about getting some bit more guidance from an external source, because I'm not opposed to using guides for games. In fact, I've used guides for a few games this year, and it's helped me enjoy them more. Especially, with the kids, you get them to bed, it's 8 o'clock, you start playing a game, and then it's like, all right, let's chuck a puzzle in. Like, Christ, my brain is been puzzling all day, mate. I don't need the video game to do this. But I would like the satisfaction from solving it, so give it to me. I'm
not against it. I guess the other thing too on that is I don't know where I would even start. And maybe the other piece too that comes into play here, Drew, which is the more vulnerable side of it, is, I often say, and people push back on me for, like, I say things like I'm too stupid for this game and things like that. And like, I'm not a completely inept individual. I don't really believe that, but I will say, like, maybe where that is coming from is, like, Breath of the Wild came out 6 years ago, and by the time I was done with it, I got to play and experience that game before, like, the pros came out. Before I even knew about using stasis and whacking the thing and then climbing on the rock and flying. Like, I didn't know about any of that stuff. So I was just like playing the game in my own little like safe bubble, and whatever I was doing was good enough, and that's great. But 6 years have gone by, and people have gotten very familiar with like the physics and everything related to this new style of Zelda. And people jumped into that like day one, I feel, with Tears of the Kingdom. So before I even got 24 hours into this game, people are doing all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, I'm not there. So, I do think that might be playing a bit of a role in this as well. That some sort of like inferiority complex, perhaps, of I guess it's not, like, I think about this when I was in like, grade 1, grade 2. We'd have to take these art projects, and there's always like the really wonderfully talented boy or girl who just like crushed it every time. They just had like this title page and it looked great. Like, how do they even come up with that? How do they choose those colors, and how do they draw that? How are they so good at this? And I I definitely had this very real look at that and go, I can never do that. Like I just had this like, I don't know whether it's real or not. Probably could have practiced and maybe gotten there. But I just looked at it and went like, that seems so natural to them, and like my best is like 60% of that, and that's maybe maybe not so much of a maybe that doesn't make sense to compare that, but that is kind of how I feel about Tears of the Kingdom. Is I could try my best and I could study. That's how I feel. That's maybe not in real, but this is how I think about it. Is I could get all the help in the world and I could practice and I could play this game for 1,000 hours. But like what I'm seeing other people doing over here, it's like it's not even close. So yeah, there's that. Maybe there's that part too.
Yeah.
So
I 100% get what you're saying. It's especially when it comes to playing games, it's like I know that other people are going to make me look pretty bad if we're playing side by
well,
side.
and that's just it. I'm not good at all. I'm not the best at other games. So like this is a very unique kind of thing because people are better at me than most games, right? Like that. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's such a big game. Maybe it's because it's shared so widely that it impacts me in this way. But yeah, like I'm not the number one gamer on anything. But for this one, like I'm not even close. I'm like with the 4-year-olds, you know, like I can't even figure this stuff out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, with you saying this, I remember on the Nintendo Drive that like I think the others on the show were saying to you like, oh, it took you hours and then you just opened the map like hours into the game. And that was like a bit of a joke or whatever. And obviously that's just fun and games. But is there an aspect of that made you go, oh fuck, maybe I should just drop this game?
no,
it's embarrassing me.
Not the map. Actually, that's funny that you bring that
Okay.
up because yeah, that was that was such a funny moment. We were playing it and it was legit like 5 hours. And I'm like, I can't remember what I said. Something about like, I'm not sure where to go next. And Lachlan was just like, well, just open your map. And so I opened it and that animation plays the very first time you look at your tablet or whatever. And Lachlan goes, is this the first time that you're opening your map? And I went, yeah, I guess so. 5 hours in. But honestly, Drew, that 5 hours was probably the most fun I had playing the game. Where I was just like wandering around and just kind of doing stuff. And it wasn't until like opening the map that I'm like, oh, okay. Like I love that element of it. And I love being able to, again, maybe this might be working totally against me. And for people who know how to appreciate this game, they're probably hearing me going like, just do this and you're going to enjoy it. But I don't know. But I played on like pro mode and I'm admittedly not a pro, but I don't want any of the HUD. I don't want to see the temperature. I don't want to see any of that stuff. I just want to wander around and play the game. But maybe to your point about like getting a little guidance, maybe the HUD might be a good place to start, honestly.
Yeah. Get rid of the HUD and that looks nice.
It looks great. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
You'd be taking damage like, oh God, what's going on? I don't know. But you put on the HUD, you're like, oh, it's cold. That's why Link's got the shivers. Oh, goodly gosh, let's give him some chilies.
Well, I mean, the other thing too, though, is like with Breath of the Wild, I didn't really get too much into the cooking. Like that was the top end creativity was, wow, I don't really know what to make or what ingredients. Like I didn't really dive into that. So it might be, maybe if that helps paint the picture a little bit more, it's like this game is everything is cooking. You're cooking you're combining all these different things for every element of the game, for the combat to like putting a mushroom on your shield to building a station wagon with wood panels on it for some reason, like all the things you can just concoct. This is Legend of Concoction, Zelda edition.
Yeah, I'm a similar way because I don't go nuts with the cooking, and I wasn't building automated mechs to take out enemy bases and stuff. I was just going through the game and doing the bare minimum as far as putting a couple of fans together and put a lever on top, and that's my vehicle, and just doing stuff like that. But yeah, I just feel like whatever game you play, don't put so much pressure on yourself. And I don't know, maybe I do the same, but don't put so much pressure on yourself. It doesn't matter. Are people tuning in to Sean's Twitch streams? Be like, oh, look, I'm looking at some pro gameplay. I want to up my Call of Duty bloody prestige ranking every week. I want to bloody take over the world. I'm going to bloody put this controller in my hand and I'm going to dominate after watching Sean stream. No, they don't. They watch you because you're a lovable
Because
personality.
I make them
and
feel
you're
better about themselves. Like, oh, I'm better than that guy.
yeah. Well,
I
don't know.
will say that
Whatever
I'm getting.
works.
I don't even enjoy hearing myself saying all these excuses. So I do want to like that almost in and of itself makes me want to go like maybe I'll just dive into this stupid game. Maybe this is like my Dark Souls experience. It's
Maybe.
like I don't want this game to beat me. Come on, man. It's a Nintendo game for God's sakes. Children play this stuff.
Goddamn babies play this stuff.
Exactly. But now when am I supposed to play it? Baldur's Gate is in my hands. Starfield is coming out. We got Motorsport coming. We got Spidey. Got a Call of Duty game. There's rumors of a Borderlands game apparently coming out later this year. Like Tears of the Kingdom had its chance, and you blew it.
You blew it. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
if
see.
you ever get back to it, I hope you enjoy it. But if you don't, well, that's all good.
Honestly, I'm probably more likely to go back to Arceus. I'm probably more likely to play Pokemon.
Oh, okay.
next.
Yeah. How much of that did you play before?
Not enough. 10,
fell away, yeah.
15, maybe 20 hours. Yeah.
Oh,
not a ton. But I like it a lot, actually. And
Yeah,
it
it's
kind of
fun.
does remind me of Zelda for some strange reason. But yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, I do think there's also a time and place kind of thing, like, because I didn't even play the original Zelda games. I didn't play brand new, or a lot of games I come to quite a bit later, and there's a weird kind of pressure that comes along with content creation that you just play the latest and greatest. And I haven't really been doing a whole lot of that this year. So I'm not writing off Tears of the Kingdom forever. And I'm just kind of reminding myself of the vast majority of my gaming life hasn't always been playing games exactly when they come out. And maybe it's just a time and place and feeling. And maybe there's more games that can come out that I can play that warm me up to that style of game that Zelda is now. So yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah. No, I love that message that you've been pushing earlier this year, just with the whole thing of, not playing games day one, playing what you feel like.
Yeah,
And
man.
yeah, Zelda could be very well much in that that group of games. Because for me, it was like Age of Calamity. That game came out like 3 years ago, and I didn't feel like playing it at the time. I bought it, and it just stayed downloaded on my Switch. And I only played it earlier this year because I felt like playing Zelda. I felt like just doing button combinations and taking out heaps of enemies. Like, this is perfect for me right now, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be anywhere near as fond of it if I played it in 2020, just, in November.
Because they launched it.
Yeah, because they launched it. So I'm glad, it's important that we actually, pay homage to older games and we can play them. Don't have to play the newest thing. Don't have to spend as much money on the hobby, and we can just enjoy it.
You probably heard, I'm playing The Last Story on the Wii. Like, it's a 2012 game. This game
was random. Yeah. How did that come about?
I don't know. Honestly, I have no. Well, probably the seed was planted from Ryan and Garrett on the RPG Cave. They were talking about the studio that makes that game, and they made Blue Dragon and all the history there. And I'm like, I have The Last Story, and I never played it. I think I picked it up when I was at a New York video game store. I think it was actually called Video Games New York, I think is the store, and just picked it up because it looked cool. Like, it was just seemed like I'd heard a few things about it at the time, and it was one of the last games released on the Wii, and like, yeah, I'll pick it up. But it just kind of sat there. And like, maybe I'll turn it over to you on this. Like, do you have a game that you bought with every intention of playing it and just never got to, but it's been like a ridiculously long time? Like, for whatever reason, Kane and Lynch comes to mind for me on the 360. And I think it was Splinter Cell Double Agent, I think was it, on 360 as well. Bought those with every intention of playing it. And for whatever reason, they're there, man. They're front of mind that I never got to those ones. And I feel bad about it.
It's definitely games that I've bought and not played a lot. But I don't know if there's any that I haven't, like, there's a lot this there's been a lot this year because I was like really into games, but I just could not keep up.
Yeah. Dying Light might be the next one. That's the latest candidate for in 5 years, and I still haven't played Dying Light 2. Why didn't I get to it? Because I was really excited to play it, and I picked it up. I got it on sale, and still, golly. And it's probably like, I don't know that anybody's screaming to the heavens about Dying Light 2. But for whatever reason, it holds a space in my mind. And I guess The Last Story kind of held a space in my mind as well. So Yeah.
I got a heap of indie games that I picked up on sales, and they just stayed unopened on the Switch. But
But when
I
you
was
pick
really,
up a heap of them though, none of them will stand out to you. When you just pick up like 15, you won't go like, none of them will be that. You know, they just digital hoarding, really.
Yeah, because I've got hundreds of games on Switch, and have I played? I don't know, all of them. Anywhere near all of them? No. No,
Yeah,
I haven't.
definitely not. Yeah, that's definitely not that. That's not it. That's not it. That's not the point. It's that, yeah, the ones that weirdly sneak by you. I think that's interesting. And maybe now is just a time to be a little nostalgic for the Wii too. Like you fire that thing up and it's got that nice kind of serene, like kind of like this nice music, and you click on the game channel and the disc kind of spins. I don't know. There's a nostalgia there that's kind of nice to re-experience as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the Wii. I think
Yeah, man.
the Wii's got such a nice aesthetic, and just the music and what everything looks. Whether it's the console itself with like the big blue light up the disc drive, and the way it's sort of positioned on the stand. I think it's one of the best looking consoles. Like especially
Agreed.
Like when it's like brand new.
It's like a tenth the size of the PlayStation 5. It's like not even close.
It's tiny compared to PS5, yeah. But yeah, I think it's a great console, and just like at the time it was frustrating because like a lot of games weren't coming to it, and if they were very dumbed down. But the games that are made for it, much like any Nintendo console, they're just so much fun. Like going back to Wii Sports and WarioWare, Mario Galaxy 1, 2,
WarioWare,
the Zelda games.
One of my favorite games ever. I'm gonna bust that out and show the kids, because they like the new WarioWare game.
Yeah,
Get It Together. They really like it.
Right, yeah.
And we're stoked for Move It as well. Oh my gosh, dude. How lucky are we? We got all these WarioWare games. They're playing it on their 2DS. Like WarioWare is living in the Capri household right now. It's good stuff.
That's great to hear, because Smooth Moves was, I guess it was the first one I owned, but yeah, we had so much fun with it because the wackiness just translates physically to what you're doing, and it's just, it feels so much more silly than just sitting there on your DS, maybe just doing WarioWare Touch, like, oh look, flick the thing, like you're just sitting there doing it. But when it's like, oh, do the elephant, you're like, oh, okay,
dude, and even the way that they like introduced, like, because you would hold the Wii remote in different ways, and they would the way they explained it was so over the top and silly. It was like this this serene kind of do you remember like the narration they did, like the remote control, you're gripping the thing, and like it had this weird like kind of poetry kind of element to it. And we absolutely we parodied that with the Team Awesome thing I was talking about before. We would tell people how to do their challenge and be like, the tug of war, and had this whole like we took the screen, but we animated our own stuff on top of it. But I have a huge love. I don't think people understand my love for Smooth Moves, man. I'm gonna bust that out again. So good.
Yeah, if Move It is anywhere near like just like as good as it is, like it's gonna be great just to have that on Switch and be able to play it basically wherever you want as well with the Joy-Cons. Because we haven't had another one of those games. Like honest to God, with 1-2 Switch, like it wasn't worth buying. But if you had it, yeah, it was. What was cool about it is like you're playing Zelda. It's a great game, handheld mode. But then you've got to go to your parents' house, and all right, chuck the Switch in the backpack. And I went to my went and saw Mum, and I'm like, hey, look at this new thing I got, Nintendo console. She's like, yeah, cool. Yeah, couldn't give a shit. It's like another DS or whatever.
They can never give us even just a little bit.
Give me something, Mum. It's cool. Damn it! But that's when I decided to get 1-2 Switch out and put it down on the kitchen table. Put out the kickstand. Gave her a Joy-Con, and this game's a fashion runway. So put your hands by your side and go down and strut. And we're strutting down the kitchen. We're pulling off moves, and we're just like laughing, having fun, and it just sort of. It's so simple, but it just opens your imagination to,
just play.
Yeah, just play.
Just play. Yeah.
Yeah, like it really just brought out the inner child within us, which was really cool. And I hope that the brand new 1-2 Switch is doing the similar thing. We played it a little bit, but it was competing with some other board games. Everybody preferred to play the real board games instead of everybody 1-2 Switch. But yeah, I think WarioWare Move It could do a similar thing, like, but actually be worth picking up.
Well, I
So,
love every time they do it in Get It Together. Anytime they have like Nintendo games kind of in there as well, and you got it in the trailer. Mario's going down the 64 and the slide and everything. You kind
oh
of go back
yes,
and
yes,
forth. I
yeah.
watched that trailer a bunch, Drew. Like there's a
I
bunch
actually
of games
haven't.
I'm really excited.
I haven't
Oh,
yeah, I haven't.
it looks
Oh,
so fun. You
it
wave your
does,
arms
yeah.
around. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I forgot that there was the Mario 64 mini game. I love like
Mhm.
the mini games based off other Nintendo games with
Totally.
9 volt. Like, oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
My kids too, it's amazing. Like they some they recognize, but others they ask like, what game is that from? Like they want to know. And
Yeah,
it's the best, man. Like, and you're just like, oh, let me tell you about this thing I also know about and that you're excited about. Let's talk about this all day. Like, we're not
yeah.
gonna have the same kind of my kids aren't gonna come to me with their new Nintendo and I'm gonna be like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, show me, or like I already knew about
Oh my
this. I'm
god.
way ahead of you, you know, like
Oh yeah,
it's
yeah,
totally different.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember you bringing up that you might have to save the WarioWare for Christmas or something,
Mm,
and that really stood out to me. I'm like, oh yeah, like mate, I need to
right.
think about things like that. I need to create boundaries so we've got things to look forward to in that. Because yeah, when it comes to video games, I'll be like, look, I've got a pre-order from EB Games, buddy. You're not
Yeah.
waiting until Christmas.
I know. But maybe like I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm wrestling with it still. I don't know if
Mm,
that's definitely going to be the way, but it does
I can't
strike me
resist.
as
Yeah.
different from when I was a kid. Like it really was birthday and Christmas, and that was it. And I always felt very fortunate because my birthday's in the summer and Christmas is or like in July. And Christmas is in December. So I got nice spacing around it, but not
Yeah.
too much. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what the right
It's just-
answer is, but I also don't want them to feel like you just get everything,
Yeah, because yeah, speaking of that, like Donnie from PSVG, I remember him saying his son's like with the Pokemon game, like, oh, where is it? It's like, I didn't get it, man. It looks like crap. It's like, oh, but he's just used to getting everything, all the
Right.
Nintendo games just come out, and
Yeah,
that's something.
like
Yeah, that's
kids
another
of
thing I was thinking about.
podcasters, man.
Yeah,
Like,
so I don't really want to set that expectation up either. That's probably a bit unhealthy. But like, if say for example, I wanted Pikmin 4 to be a Christmas present, would I just play
mhm.
that in my own time, keep it to myself, then have the
Yeah.
physical copy ready to go December? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, is that the way to
Yeah.
go? Just keep it to you. It's a little bit harder with WarioWare. You'll be in the bedroom with the shut door,
I
and
know.
the door will come flying open, and you're just like waggling around. Oh no, you caught me!
Oh, man, that is such a tough one because I really am excited to play with them. Like that is one
Mm.
more than most games. That's like such a great family and group activity for us to do. Other
Yeah.
games aren't quite the same. And also, I mean, the other side of it too is like my wife is a gamer too. Like she's playing Tears of the Kingdom. She should talk to you about Tears of the Kingdom. Like she's
Mm.
going nuts with that game. And she played Pikmin. Like she's all over this. She definitely should be on the Nintendo podcast. What am I doing on this stuff? She's playing the new stuff, but
She'll say, "All right, Sean, you're up with the kids tonight. I'm on the Nintendo drive. I'm
pretty
having a
much,
chat
yeah.
with Lachlan."
Yeah, I actually can't get it. I've asked her, but I haven't been able to do it just yet. But she'd be
Yeah,
much
'cause
better to talk about
yeah,
that stuff.
I was thinking because there was a bit there where I was going through the Bobby's channel, and he had Chelsea on for like a few episodes.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, oh, like I guess life just kicked in, and she didn't have time for podcasting or whatever anymore. But yeah, she was great at it.
yeah. No, oh dude, she's
Yeah,
a natural just talker, just storyteller.
yeah.
That was one of the first things I ever like noticed about her and her whole family, really, like especially on her dad's side, just natural storytellers. And I remember meeting them all for the first time, this big family get together, much bigger than my family. And I felt like I was 5 years old all over again. Like, okay, grown-ups are
Mm,
talking and like just listen to these stories. And they're so funny. Just like this whole group of very charismatic people. Yeah, no, she's, you know, so natural at it. I really had to learn a lot on the podcasting side, but she's just so good at it. We would just talk on the phone. It would be her the whole time. I'm like, no, this is good. You don't have
yeah,
to do anything. She can just talk the whole time.
yeah, yeah. No, going back just to the listening.
Mhm.
Good listener. I guess that's a
Big
good skill
time.
too.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Depends what you can put out after you listen though. You just like you listen to it, you're like, yeah,
I would do that sometimes, like
Yeah.
legitimately, like
Yeah.
just stay and yeah. Sometimes it'd be like, how long can we go without actually putting anything back into the conversation? It just like keeps going. It's pretty amazing, actually.
Just have an automated like, every now and again, just so I know you're
there.
there.
Yeah, like just to show that I'm still there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of talking on the phone though, to be honest with you.
No, I'm not
I
either.
really,
It's really weird since we're podcasters too. It's like, what are we doing right now? Is this not a phone?
Is this
I know
a
it's
phone
not,
call?
but
yeah.
yes.
No, I don't know. Just talking though. Like I don't know, because I guess that's what we're doing too. But maybe I
We
just
are
like you
talking,
that
yeah.
much. Yeah.
Mm.
Maybe she didn't like. It is a weird thing. I don't know how to reconcile that, Drew.
Yeah, don't know either.
Maybe
Well, I
we
guess,
do enough here. Maybe that's
yeah.
it. We're kind of talked out.
Maybe we're doing this for fun. When it's on the phone, you're not like, it's not for fun. Like it's like, you ring in the bank, or you're like, oh, I better. Yeah, I don't do many phone calls. It's like, oh, parents might ring me. Oh, can you pick this up? It's like, yes, I can.
There's going to be something. I think you nailed it. I think that's exactly it. There's going to be some obligation that comes out of a phone call, because I was thinking about it earlier this week. Like, I don't know where I saw this, but just some sort of encouragement to like call up somebody just to say hi, and how nice that would be for you. That would feel nice. And for the other person to like, just, to let them know you're thinking about them. How nice would that be? Yeah. But nobody ever does that, because we're now like, I don't know about you, but somebody phones me, I'm like, what do they want? Like, what do they want? What do they want from me right now? Like, they want something. I've been trained by experience that nobody just calls to say, hey, I just love you, man. Nobody says that. They want something. They want something. They want a favor. They want me to come over to do something. They have a question I need to answer. It's like, that's why. That's why I don't like talking on the phone, Drew.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what do you want?
what do you starts the phone? What do you bloody want? Bloody, I don't have time for this shit.
The live transformation into the old crotchety, the old man that I'm destined to become. What do you want?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a thing we should do. Like, maybe not the phone call for that reason, but I was thinking the other day, I was in a Facebook messaging group. Basically, one of our people we play soccer with, it's his 60th birthday, and it's his last game of his career, and he's 60 years old. It's just insane. He's so fit awesome. Still, like just absolutely insane. So, a bit of a celebration going on, and there's a few of my friends that I haven't talked to for years and years in that group, because they played soccer before they moved away, and it just took me down a rabbit hole. I clicked on his profile, and I'm like, oh, he got married and all this stuff, and yeah, I was like, I should like, I'd love just to talk to him, but I didn't. There's a part of me was like, I don't want to annoy him or whatever. He's moved on. He doesn't want to talk to me. He's got, brand new set of friends and whatever. So, but I should just reach out and be like, what's up?
How nice would that be? Maybe it's almost like that. It would be too nice.
Yeah, too nice.
Kind of a weird, intimidating kind
of thing. Bloody Drew, what are you being nice? You trying to sneak back in?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Or maybe it's even that we ourselves can't deal with how emotionally positive that would be. Like, you just know it would be very meaningful, and for some weird reason, that scares us away from doing the thing.
I don't know if you did the same thing, but like in your head, especially when it's all digital, it's all like text and Twitter and whatever, do you just feel like people are grumpy with you in some ways? Especially if you haven't talked to them for a while?
I don't think so. I know that. I know a lot of people are like that, but I don't think so.
That's good.
No, sorry. I don't. I get it, and I definitely have seen sort of like examples of that, and yeah, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm worried if somebody were to do that to me, like how just we would just never talk. Like, nobody would ever talk about it, like anything. But also the other side of it is then you like, what is the expectation that everything is flowery and emojis and like these texts are flowery emails and with all this wonderful etiquette and everything? Like, can't you just say a thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm more like actions, like what are you actually saying? Yeah, no, I don't know. Chelsea does it. My wife does that quite a bit. Like, oh, this person's really pissed. And I'm like, I don't like, they're just answering your question, so I don't know.
You just check your phone, just get a message saying, I'm pissed. It's like,
but I will say though, to the point about like digital communication and mostly being text, like it does change just how we're even able to do it. Maybe that's another reason why we don't like talking on the phone, because it's just that much more of a lift, either emotionally or mentally, whatever it is, or just the time away from it. Maybe it's just even holding a damn phone up to our ears, for God's sakes. Like, that's a pain in the butt. But yeah, like it's inconvenient. It's much more convenient. That's probably the piece. It's very convenient to send a message and you can just like walk away from it. And you go like, whenever, if they reply immediately, like you can get back to it when you get back to it, instead of the constant, well, in this case, like a 90-minute straight, just like we're going to just bounce back and forth. But the text is more about, it's more self-centered, which sounds bad. And I don't mean it to be bad. It's just, that's the nature of what it is. It's just, it's based on when I'm going to reply, basically. So that definitely, when the vast majority of your communication is that, then that's just what your life is. That dictates kind of how you think about communicating with people. It should be that, and it can't be when you do stuff like this. So
yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, maybe if I feel like that, because I do sometimes, like I don't know if I probably read into it too much and think about it. But yeah, I think the thing is, maybe if I feel like that way about people in my life, maybe I should just ring them or see them. That's probably the the easiest and most obvious conclusion to come to.
It's probably one of the things I don't think that I have too many regrets in life, but like that's probably one that I am worried that I will harbor later, is that I didn't pick up the phone to say hey to whoever, you know. But it's been on my mind lately. There's even to the point, and I don't want to get like too like final about it with anybody, but like, even I have one friend in particular. He's a really good guy. I haven't seen him in forever, and the pandemic definitely like drove a lot of people apart for, you know, for real reasons. But there's one guy that I was thinking about earlier this week, and I'm like, I would just love to tell him, like, even if we never see each other ever again, that I really appreciate him, that I'm really grateful for our friendship. But like, I also don't want to put it out there to go like, we probably won't see each other again. Like, there's, in all likelihood, I'll see him like next month. You know, like it's not like he moved away to like Tunisia or something. You know, he's just down the block, really. He's he's 20 minutes away, maybe. But I was thinking about this one individual in particular. I did want to just like give him a call and go like, you know, I'm not going to pretend like we can just say like, let's get together next week and like that will work out. Cause if that were the case, it would have happened over the last 3 years. But yeah, just, I have a couple like really special friends that, I don't know, it'd just be good to reach out, and that would be that much more meaningful than a text. At the very least, I could verify that I still have the right number, you know. Nothing more awkward than like, hey man, I'm missing. It's like, this is Frank. Who the hell are you? You know.
I'm that person for a lot of people. I get phone calls asking for Donna. I'm Donna. Not Donna. No. And it's been I've had this number for like,
you should be Donna one of those times.
I should be. I'm like, yeah, mate, this is Donna. It's like, are you sure? It's like, yeah, mate, I'm Donna. Yeah. I'm Donna.
Yeah, you should do that.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, I think all of us have this emotion where we think about, especially when we get older. If you're in your early 20s, you probably don't have this, like, you know, you think 5 years ago, like, oh, there's this kid that moved away. But for me, especially recently, and I think about time in a completely different way when I see my son just morph into a bigger being. Like I said, I was thinking about my friend, and you know, he got married and he moved off. I'm like, it's really, you know, he was a great friend. The last time I saw him, I went into the city and I caught up with him, had a great catch up, and that was probably 5 years ago now. Like, just how quickly that time goes. Yeah. And there's a bunch of my friends like that too, because I'm from a small town. So when it comes to a lot of my friends, I keep in touch with like a couple of them, like on a very irregular basis. Yeah, one of them, Seamus, as you know. But there's a couple of other ones where I haven't seen him in years, and there's especially one that hurts because like he was like it was probably like my best friend. Like we were super close. But it got a little bit complicated because he was, you know, discovering his sexuality, and he felt a way about me, which I didn't feel about him. And I basically got cut off like I was, you know, like an ex type of thing, even though he was just like a really good friend. And we haven't really been able to pick things up again. And it's, you know, you have thoughts like that. Like, you know, he's engaged and moved on a long time ago now, but can I still be like, hey, can we be friends again? I don't know. I don't know how
Yeah.
I don't know how he feels, but the only way to work that out is to talk to him. But it's
Mm-hmm.
some people, it's not as straightforward as picking up the phone. I don't know,
Yeah.
but
You
yeah,
know,
no,
it's
it's
I'm gonna
tricky.
link that back to Tears of the Kingdom. You know, like the answer is right in front of you. But it's like
Yeah,
for
of
whatever
course.
reason, there's these mental hurdles that make it impossible, make it seem like because the answer is simple. The answer is call them.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to like marginalize any of that stuff. Like I'm the same with a dozen friends that I haven't seen in forever. Like there's 1,000 reasons why I'm not picking up the phone too. But the real answer for me too is you could just call them. And I don't know, like maybe it's the fear of what they would say, and maybe they're not like, it's a very particular emotional place that you're in with that to want to reach out and to rekindle that. What are the chances that that other person is in that same space that they're thinking about the same thing about you? Like maybe the odds are not great, and that's scary that you can like put yourself out there, and they go, I haven't thought of you the whole time and lose my number, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, very similar. I've a very similar thing. Well, not quite that similar, but a good friend I grew up with moved away to Vancouver, and he threw a going away party that I missed, and that is a regret I have big time, man. I
Mm.
didn't go to that going away party because he was gone, and I haven't seen him since. I've seen his mom, but and like played Dreamcast with that guy, played like just 64, and he was the one who showed me all those games back in the day, and been decades that I haven't seen that guy. It's so special. Um, and the sad part is honestly, and this is where like getting older is really a thing. Sadly, the time that we will start to see some of these long lost friends is when mutual friends or parents of those friends pass away, and you see them at funerals, and that's when that like even just
Oh,
talking about this, like
yeah.
I got to do something about this.
Yeah,
Honestly,
me
like
too.
I'm
Yeah.
hyper aware of all of it. Like I'm not realizing this for the first time. I'm super aware of it. But the notion that the next time that I might see somebody who I've wanted to talk to and express that I'm grateful for their friendship, the next time I might see them is at somebody else's funeral. That's so ridiculous to me. But it's a reality for a lot of people if you just wait long enough, unfortunately. So not to get too grim about it, but yeah, probably should prevent that, just be better than that.
Yeah.
So
No, yeah. It's just something that I've been thinking about, the
you
last little
should do
bit.
it.
And yeah, yeah. And like that is why I'm also doing this as well. Like, just
Mhm.
relationships with,
Yeah.
yourself and Seth
Yeah.
and Bryce and whoever. Like, it's just,
Oh, it's great
it's a
to have
great
you and
step
Bryce
to,
chatting again. That's awesome, man.
yeah,
Yeah. You guys
yeah,
still like in between? Like you
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Not as much as I'd like.
Yeah.
He works on the weekends and that's my free time. So our
Yeah.
schedules really don't line up very well. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, we try our best. We
Yeah.
we text each other now and again when it's about games and want to jump on Discord and do a bit more stuff like that a bit more. But
Yeah.
yeah, not as much as it was. It's not a weekly thing like it once was, which was
Mhm.
nice. That
Yeah,
was
it's tough
great
to
then.
compete with
Yeah,
that, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, that was really nice. Yeah, because yeah, it was just great to sort of catch up with him again. We're just at the start of the episode. It's about half an hour just of catching up and talking. We ended up talking about like primary school and just a bunch of random stuff. So I
Mhm.
mean, hopefully you can get him back every now and again and just do something like that. But
For sure.
yeah, yeah, no, like it's just really nice to have this chat with you. Just I think I always think we're pretty similar. I remember listening like you played like soccer and just talking about you know your upbringing and things like that. I was an only child, so maybe not a good example with how many siblings you had, but
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like we're pretty similar just in the way we think and all that.
Mhm. I'd like to think so. Like because I really admire you actually. So I take that as a compliment if we're similar in any way. It's like, hell yeah, me and Drew. Nice. I'll take it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's very good.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I think we both hold relationships like very important, and you it's painful I don't know if that's just you and me. I'm sure that's for a lot of people. It's painful when relationships kind of dissolve or they when they fall apart or whatever. Like that's you take that very it's very hard. But yeah, just the overall approach, I think, and the things that we like, I think, are very similar. And we like to laugh, and humor, I think, is a lot of part of my life. I'd like to hope so, and I think for you as well. So yeah, I think it's definitely some similarities, I would say. Just got to
Yeah.
get you over here. Like, come over here. Like, can you just move to North America? Like, or like in a different time zone where this like works out a little better? Like, can get you to Extra Life. Like, we met Fulia, for God's sakes.
Yeah, I mean, with you guys talking about Extra Life all the time, I'm always like, it'll be so cool. Like,
It'd be
even just go
like,
to
what
New
if
York
Drew
in general.
showed up? Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky just with the family at the moment, but that's there's always an excuse. So maybe I just should make one and book it. See, it's not even a plane trip; it's a few plane trips.
I know. Dude, no, I get it. Look,
I'm
not buying tickets to Australia anytime soon either. Like that is like the behemoth. That is the one. It's got to be like one of the longest flights in the world.
Yeah, New York would have to be like the furthest away I could possibly go.
That's like in the world. Like there, you couldn't pick
honestly,
a further place.
Yeah, because I'd land on the land in LA, even I would have to go across the whole country to.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, that's a.
I love that, like, the
it'd be
trip
worth it
from
though.
LA to New York. That's the final leg. That's the short part. Just going across the United States. That's the part.
Yeah, that's the end bit, the end 6 hours. But
yeah, it's too much.
Yeah, it'll be awesome because like you guys, you've done just awesome stuff with Extra Life and just everything. It sounds so much fun to go to and for such a good cause. And sounds like you've got a great group of people going this year. Seth is going for the first time as well.
So, you know what? It is bittersweet, and I don't want to like ruin the Extra Life hype or anything, but like there is a thing that happens now that we've done it a few times in person where you're so excited to see the person in front of you in 3 dimension. Like it's really them. You get to give them a big old hug and you get to hang out, and it's this 24 hours of like, it's just this flash. And then it's over. Even though it's difficult to do, it's 24-hour marathon gaming. Like that's hard to do and stay up all night and all that kind of stuff, and feels long, but it's over before you know it. And I don't know if I've talked to anybody who's been there about it in this way, but it's over and you give the people a hug and then they walk away, and it's almost like a dream. It's almost like a movie. They just walk away and then they go away. And it's almost like they walk through it's almost like Field of Dreams. Field of Dreams at all? Like they walk in and out of the cornfield, the baseball players, like they just fade away.
I get the idea. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like this. So I have this visual for almost everybody that I hung out with, like hung out with Jace quite a lot, or Justin Masson, or Marty, like all these guys, like Jesse, Tim, everybody, all the Nintendo dads and Babbitt and everybody and Lee, and you say goodbye, or Dave Moore, and you say goodbye, and it's like, is that the last time I'm ever going to see that person? Garrett Bland, all these people. And it is very bittersweet because you're so glad that you got to see Robbie Bobby Miller, Skinny Matt, or his whole family, for God's sakes. Like, but yeah, you have that moment, and then they turn around and you just know that you're not going to see them the next weekend. It's not like anybody else in any of your other normal day-to-day interactions. Like when I see my parents, I don't say goodbye to them in that way. That'd be very dark. Like, right, never see you again. Like I'm going to see them next week. And when it kind of, maybe I should think about it in that way, in a way, just to be grateful for that time that you had and treat every day like tomorrow isn't guaranteed. But that is brought to the forefront, at least it is for me, with Extra Life. And that's why it's such a huge priority for me, because it presents this opportunity that's so rare. And when it's over, it's very emotional for me. Like you're also very tired. Like you're kind of just, it's been a big lead up, and you want it to be good, and you're pushing yourself and all this other stuff. So you're kind of already exhausted. And then all of this, you start to think about, like, I generally have like a pretty good cry after pretty much every marathon, whether it was gaming for Guru or or extra life, whatever it is, like there's usually like a reflection, an exhausted kind of reflection, looking back and going, wow, like that was a lot. That's so incredible. And we're lucky that we get to be a part of this kind of stuff, dude. Like, yeah. So that happens. Yeah. For extra life.
Yeah. It just helps make everything that you do feel real. And that's how a lot of what I feel as well, when it's like, for me in Australia, it's PAX Australia. That's when a lot of our group come together and we get to meet or catch up again in person. And if it wasn't like, PAX is, I've been there that many times now that I've seen it and done it, but I always make an effort to go and see my friends. And that's an added benefit to Extra Life, obviously, but it's all about raising the money for the kids that need it.
Oh yeah.
But it's just a really special thing when you can actually meet people and have these relationships in person, which is pretty cool, especially when they look after you when you get food poisoning
too. Yeah, that's not great either. I think the other thing that gets me is that the 24 hours isn't easy, so you're all in it together. You're all kind of suffering together, which is a weird way to put it, but nobody's comfortable, but you're doing it together. And there's this like camaraderie that is naturally built up in that sort of team. And you're doing it for such a good cause, like all that stuff. It all comes together, and of course I continue to be so inspired by Lee Navarro, who leads the Extra Life, like the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team. He's so selfless, and like somebody I know a lot of generous people. I know a lot of very selfless people. Marcus O'Neill comes to mind. There's so many wonderful people, and like Lee is just like, he's that. Like I've been so lucky to meet people who I look at and go, how can I be more like that? Because wouldn't that be nice if the world was full of more of that? And they're just so natural at it. Like, it seems to me that's who Marcus O'Neill is. That's who Seth is. He's just such a beautiful, warm, these are beautiful people. And I really admire that. And to see when there's so much work that goes into Extra Life to pull it all off, that it's still there, that kindness and compassion is still there, even though you're like pushed to the limit. And there's been immeasurable, unquantifiable challenges along the way. There's 1,000 reasons why it should completely fall apart, but you still pull it off. And all the while, you're just wonderful the whole time. Teach me more. Like, tell me how you do that, because that's something I'd love to aspire to. So Extra Life, like that's why I'm out. That I love getting to explore it a little bit, because people might just wonder, like, why does he just talk about this all the time? I can get a little aggressive about it, Drew. When there's like, I'm not really doing it with you, I don't think, because you're very far away. So it's not quite the same as when I'm talking to somebody in, like, I don't know, Kentucky. And you go like, you can make it. Like, just go, just get on a plane or a train or some sort of automobile, just get over there. And it's not that complicated. So, and if it's coming, then save up for it. If it's important, you can stash away some cash here and there and make the trip. And it's going to be totally worth it. So that's what I got to say about that.
My partner really wants to travel, and she's been to New York before. So if we could ever sort of link it up, where it's like, hey, sweetheart, would you like to go on a holiday? So, but for 24 hours, I'm going to be gaming with my friends. So
Andros did it, man. Andros brought his wife and Micah. The Nintendo pals were there, and they're doing they do what they do. Yeah. The Nintendo pals, So
did he have his kids there as well?
No. I can't remember
the whole family.
They just, I think they just left them in the house with a box of cereal, rations and whatnot. A couple Band-Aids, just in case.
Just lock him in a room, just with a TV in the corner. It's like, all right, kids, we'll be back in 4 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I reckon it'll be awesome to go to. I really hope that one day I'll be able to make it. Because
you can do your own thing in there and have all your people come together, and it can be it for
definitely
Australia.
I have well, yeah, that was a great idea actually. I think once again, Donnie on PSVG, he was doing the house party before COVID came and ruined that.
Yeah,
and I suggested to a few people, like, that is a brilliant idea. We should do that. Just get an Airbnb.
You should do that. You should totally do that.
100%.
Just make content. Oh my gosh. Yes. Or E3 or whatever. Do the Game Awards. Like it's coming up. You could do that.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Anybody in Australia who's a content creator, let's work that out.
Can you honestly show us how, Drew? Like somebody's got to do this first, and you fill the shoe, man. You're there. You're the person that can. I can totally picture it. That would be incredible. It would literally be the house of Mario. You would be like have a whole house full of people. Like you'd rent it out. Whatever. Do you have like Airbnb? Like do you have some sort of rental? Like here we call like Airbnb or VRBO or
Airbnb.
Rent out.
Or,
yeah. Just rent a place, get good internet, set up your webcams and your microphones. Like, and again, you know how to do in-person content, which not a lot of us know how to do. Like we get together in person, we're like, we're hooped, man. Like we're like, where you put the microphones where? Like, how do we not get the crossover? Like, what cables do we need? It's a whole thing. You're so far ahead when it comes to that stuff. Like, you should do it, man. That would be amazing. And people would love to tune in and watch it and check it out because it's different and exciting.
That'd be so much fun. It depends where we do it. Do it near Melbourne or something. That's where a lot of people are.
Yeah. Fool you in there and Seamus.
Absolutely.
Nintendmania. Get everybody. Oh, I can't wait. All right. When can I tune in?
I'll be getting a message every month like, hey, yeah, organising that Australian catch up yet? It's like,
man. Well, I mean, if there's anything I can do from here to help, like I would love to see it. I'd love for somebody to pull it off, honestly, because it is such a strong idea. So
it's a shame PSVG didn't follow through with it and do it.
I would have been there. I was there, man. So
yeah.
And Extra Life is kind of the only other thing. There could be a Canadian thing, honestly. Like we could have all these different like contingents. You know, there's the Australian house party and the Canadian house party, and you know, maybe America too. I don't know. We could do Extra Life in America. So
where would you have to go to do it in Canada, you reckon?
Probably Toronto, somewhere around Toronto.
Yeah.
I would love for it to be here because it's way cheaper. Like just to be here is like where I am in Canada, it's very inexpensive relative to where literally everybody else seems to live. Like, oh my gosh, I actually don't know how people actually afford to like buy groceries because the rent or mortgages and property values are so high everywhere else. But yeah, people could come here, but it's very cold. You know, Fulia will tell you. We were like, it was not a pleasant experience, I don't think, for her when she was here. It was pretty chilly. Yeah.
Couldn't imagine. I still remember talking to you one time, being like, "Oh God, it's a bit cold here." You're like, "Drew, please." Like it's like negative 20 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, it's 10 degrees here."
I mean, it's 20 now.
Cold.
Like it's nice now. It's night and it's 20. So like that's
yeah, that is nice. That's very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in summertime.
Stay in my basement. Yep.
Well, summer. Yes.
Yep. At the tail end of it, we got another couple. Like I think we have 72 hours left of summer, and then it'll snow. Yeah, Christmas is coming, my friend.
Are you sick of it yet? Sick of the cold? If you yourself want to move somewhere a bit warmer, or you like the snow?
No, I'm not good in the heat, Drew. Like, what are you like 40? This is the Ryan Turfer's favorite part of the show, by the way.
Yeah, we'll clip this out just for him. We'll send a 2-minute segment to him.
Yeah, no, I'm not great in the heat. So.
I'm not either, and I live in Australia, so
there's no way.
I live in the south though; it's a bit cooler.
Like 30, I was because I just did my bike ride a couple weeks ago, and I was telling Court, I'm like, it's gonna be 30 degrees the whole weekend. And he's like, "Oh, that's perfect." I'm like, "What are you talking about? That's like max. That's way too hot." I was like, my parents, I wanted them to bring bags of ice so I could like strap them to my back and I could like cool my body temperature down. I was terrified of 30 degrees. And that's where I'm at, dude. Like 25, I'm good. I'm good with 25.
Oh yeah, 25 is beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, 30's pushing it, especially if you're doing like work outside. If you just if you're like a bike ride, it's like, you get burnt in that bloody degrees. Jeez.
I feel better. Yeah, that's
scares
me.
I've got my mum's blood in me, so from the UK. So when it gets a bit hot, I'm like, oh my God, I'm sweating. Because when it's when we're shearing, like I'll be the first one to drop when it's because it'll be like 35 to 40 degrees in a shearing shed. So in the shearing shed, it'll be about 50 degrees in that type of weather. and you're doing like just very intensive manual labor.
That's
And
too
it's
much.
yeah, yes, it's one of those it's when those you listen to the podcast, they're talking about crunch in video games,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one of the it's the most I can relate, where I'm like, I want to say no, but I feel like I can't
Got to
because
get it
I'm
done.
a part of a team type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I sort of that's how I relate to the game developers. Just
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm about to have heat stroke and
Same thing.
fall over.
You know,
Yeah, pretty much.
programming,
Yeah.
crunch time.
I mean, you do both at the same time. You go back into the
Yeah,
pen, you do a bit of
probably.
code, you drag the sheep out.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It renders a little
That'd
bit
be
while you shoot the sheep.
that'd be an interesting style of podcasting as well. I know you walk around the farm, but like, what if you had like a little headset and you just do it while what game comes to mind while you're shearing the sheep? You know, just do
Well,
a
funny
full
you
game.
say that. I've got the setup to walk
I'm
around
sure
the
you
farm.
do.
I've
Yeah.
got the camera and the microphone. I got it, as you saw. I've got the drone.
Dude, the
I can-
drone. Oh my gosh. I've watched that video you did for Xbox Drive 300 so many times. I love it so much, dude. Like thank you for doing it. It's just like, it was funny because when we did the Xbox Drive 300, we were having some trouble with Melon. We had a video Luke had sent in and it didn't work like at all. So I'm like, well, then the Drew video unfortunately won't work. But then we played it. We attached it as part of the audio, and then also played it the next episode just to start it out. I'm just like, people have got to see this. And we put it on Twitter and everything. Like I was talking to Court too, because like on Twitter you can't, unless you're like a blue check or whatever, you can't post a video that's long. And I legit had a conversation with Court. I'm like, can we get a blue check mark just to post this video that Drew did? Because it's so good. And you probably saw like Court does have the blue check mark. So he's like, I'll post it and then we'll retweet from
Okay.
Carpool. So that's how we got it up there. But we legitimately had a conversation. Like, do we do this? Like we're fan funded, so we could do it. So
yeah, because my parents, they've always wanted a drone. So when it came to my birthday, they're like, hey, we're gonna buy a drone, and it can be like we can all use it. I'm like, sweet, all right. I always say no to that, because they want pictures of the farm and used for like advertising and that for our sheep stud and all that. So I guess a bit of a tax write-off, maybe. I don't know. What the situation
which makes it free,
but
right? That's how that works.
yeah, absolutely free. Yeah,
tax write-off. Yeah, just free. Yeah.
So yeah, I got access to that, and I thought, what would it be like to just have this microphone and sync it up? So I'm like, I wanted this message for the Xbox Drive, and I want to work this out. So I thought I'll just do it all in one. So and it's like, well, the syncing works. I got this different video for those guys.
So great,
man. Yeah. Because I want to do podcasts where I walk around and like the drone just follows me and I just talk on the microphone.
It's great. It's so good. You're that's what I mean. Like that's why I think you're the guy for the House of Mario thing. Like you have the tech, you have the vision, you manage to create pathways for new creative ideas where everybody else, like we're all just doing the same thing. So keep going with that, man. I want to see what else you got in that brain of yours.
Yeah, it's funny because maybe like a lot of my ideas, I'd make a pretty good producer. I think like just doing all this stuff.
Definitely. Yeah,
But
man.
I'm not. Yeah, just like I don't think all that stuff isn't what's important. What's important is just what is said, the content that is coming out of your mouth. So I've got to make sure that I work on that and I get that to a level where I want. And you could have as many drones flying around or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just
I think you're there. Like, I think what you say is excellent. I think you do a wonderful breakdown of games and the news, and you're a natural, I think, like on the mic, you do solo podcasts by yourself, and
definitely not a natural. Definitely have to work there, but
yeah, it comes across that way. So I guess I feel like almost nobody is truly a natural, but like if it comes across that way, like that's man, you're good at this stuff. You're very good at this stuff. I hope you know that. I feel like I have to tell you that every time I chat with you. Like you should know this, and people recognize you as a very strong podcaster and very creative, and quality is very high, like almost unreasonably high. Like what are you doing over there, Drew? Like how is that happening? Yeah, but you should know that, dude.
Yeah, I'm not embarrassed enough not to put it up, so I guess that speaks for itself. Like,
man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thanks, man. But yes, it's a lot of fun to do. Got basically, like what I've worked out, and I talked about it on an episode that hasn't actually gone up, but I got a iPad, and I've worked out how to get it all done on the iPad. So like all my video editing, all my audio editing,
Really?
it's all from an iPad. Yeah, because
Mark Carabin used to say the same thing, actually.
I've got a great laptop. It's a 16-inch MacBook, and it's wonderful. It's what we're using right now. But
Yeah.
it's like I can't have that with me. Like if I want to do some video editing, if I want to like just swap between camera angles and stuff, um, I can just like get out the iPad and do 15 minutes here and there.
Yeah.
But with the computer, it's very much like, all right, it's 8 o'clock.
Settle in.
Lucas is in bed, and now it's time to do it all, and I'll be up until 1 o'clock. So I wanted to make the change to make everything a lot more accessible, because really, especially since having Lucas and making sure that everything really working out my systems. Because like even with gaming, I've got this portable gaming trolley because Chantel used the TV. That's where the PlayStation was. She was watching Netflix and that on the PlayStation, and I either had the Switch or I had nothing. Like I couldn't use the PlayStation. So there's a few years where I only played maybe like 3 games on PS5 and Xbox Series. So I got that so I could move it where I needed to move it, and it could work with me instead of me working to a particular space. Because if I just got a TV and put it in here, it would never be used.
And so smart, dude.
And the same with the iPad. Like if I record the show, I make sure all the files are moved to it, and then I make sure that I've got like a few days to sort of work out the editing and all that. Because it's been a big learning experience. Because since doing it again, my setups, well, not my setup, but the way I sort of do the editing is completely different. Like I actually record on the cameras. Before it was just through a cam link.
Okay.
I record on the actual camera now and move the files because it's better quality if I record it on the actual camera. And
big time. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a massive problem trying to sync up the audio. Like it kept
I was gonna ask you, like,
kept on drifting. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. Did you get it sorted out? Or are you working around it?
Sort of working around it a little bit. Like when I record like a backup on the Rodecaster, and it just will not sync up. Like it just drifts over time. So I've got like a wireless microphone into the camera from the Rodecaster, and also record on OBS. And like I've got like a bunch of different ways that I can try and make it work. So there's a bunch of sort of technical
and somehow
shit
it all ends up
around
on an iPad for you to put together.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. That's huge though, man. Like I feel like there's something there even outside of podcasting. Like what you've managed to do is, just make it available to you. Like I feel like I'm a bit of I always call myself a bit of an old man, but like I've gotten to the point where like I don't even want to fill out forms on my mobile devices anymore, like let alone edit a video. But if you're able to, like, you're going to be unstoppable. You have all this ability to be productive, and you don't have to set into a very particular literal setting. You can just get it done wherever. I feel like that's the future. That's what these phones are for. Honestly, I think that is that ability to do the thing when you're able, like just very simply, and just it's with you always. What size your iPad? Is that a Pro iPad? I've got a little mini. I've got this little guy.
Yeah. I got the big boy. I got the 12.9, and absolutely love it because the first iPad I had was iPad Air in 2013. Loved it. Loved watching stuff, playing games on it, all of the stuff. In 2020, I got an iPad 11 inch, whatever, and I just barely used it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like I picked it up for YouTube every now and again, but I was always drawn to my phone to watch YouTube and just muck around in that. But yeah, Final Cut Pro came out on the iPad, and I'm like, okay, that's like a legit software that I actually use on the computer as well. And it's a bit more basic on iPad, so I'm able to learn it a little bit easier. It's not so daunting.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So no, it works out well. Because I've heard a lot of good things about the minis too. Just like, for yourself, I guess you do like note taking and organization and
very, very basic. Like I'm not.
Yeah.
I actually got it originally. I got it because I thought I was going to be reading comics on this thing, and as I've started getting more and more into it, I just started buying physical comics. So oddly enough, I just canceled my Comixology subscription just last night because I'm like, I don't know the last time that I looked at a comic on my iPad. So yeah, this is the world's most expensive notebook. This iPad,
Yeah.
like it's just paper basically at this point, but
that's okay. That's
I use it literally every day, every single day of my life. Like it's
do you use it for content much, like watching stuff and
no,
like,
not
no?
yeah, maybe a little bit of YouTube.
Yep.
You know, some ASMR before going to bed, you know, just having it beside the bed. So that's really it. Maybe sometimes with the kids, but primarily it's it's not much more than notes. So you know, if people have recommendations on what they do with their iPads, I'm open to it. But
well, it's funny because obviously I'm really into gaming content, but what my YouTube algorithm is really pushing me, because that's what I actually like to watch on YouTube primarily, is just there's a bunch of just like how to use your iPad productively and how to be productive on computer. Like a lot of that's like just tech videos. I'm really into tech when it comes to YouTube, and when it's by podcasting, it's like all gaming. That's where it's sort of the lines divide. But when you're talking about reading the comics, I've gotten into reading magazines again on the iPad. It's really really quite cool because it comes with it came with like an Apple Plus subscription, so you get access to a big catalog of magazines.
really,
Yeah, and yeah, it's called News Plus, and it comes with like a bunch of newspapers and magazines. And I've been reading there's a magazine in the UK called Retro Gamer. It's all about retro games. They did a big write up on what it's like developing on the NES, which was absolutely fascinating. How like it was like a different chipset to other consoles and computers at the time. And yeah, I'm just like reading like this PlayStation magazine. What Edge is on there. I haven't read Edge in years, but that's on News Plus. So yeah, it's like it's fascinating just like flipping through magazines because it's just like scans.
Yeah.
But these days I wouldn't want to get magazines. Just I don't really want to just fill up a cupboard with magazines. But it's just great having them. Get a little notification, but like yeah,
I've got a pile of magazines just out of reach. And
Mine-
honestly, Drew, like I've got PC Gamer, just like a bunch of them, just over there.
Yeah,
and that's a big nostalgia kick for me too.
PC Game is on there on News Plus.
Yeah, no, I think the thing, because again, like I really intended for this to be like some sort of reading device for me, whether it's like could be like there's a Kindle app, which would be great, but magazines and comics is actually what I had intended on using this iPad mini for. And when I started using it for that, I'm like, but what if I just had a magazine? And I've really enjoyed having a magazine or having a comic book. Like I've got Spidey right here. Like I've been reading Spider-Man comics lately,
awesome,
and
man.
it's incredible. Basically until I run out of space, I guess, you know, until I really run out of places to put the comics, then I'll go, I guess maybe I'll go back to these iPads, but
so you can't open the door. Yeah,
pretty much. Just like they fall over and everything. Yeah. No, it's weird because it drove me back to physical media. And I don't think I even realized until we started talking about it tonight. I'm like, this started out as I was supposed to be reading magazines and comics, and guess I didn't like it enough. I just got the real deal. So maybe that was it. Maybe there was an authenticity thing. Didn't feel like the real thing. So I felt like there was a more authentic version of whatever I was consuming that still existed.
I wonder if this helps because like I got like a paper-like screen protector on it, so it actually feels like paper on the screen.
I need to get one of those. Yeah.
They're really actually quite great. Like I was a little bit I was thinking about it, just like it makes the screen look a little bit not as clear.
It's a matte finish,
but I think it's worth it, just like using the pencil on it and just reading like magazines, and that looks works out really well. But because I guess just back to the point of making things accessible for you, just so you can actually do what you want to do, so you can just pick it up and play, whether it's games on Switch because it's portable or stuff on a smaller device to edit and be creative. That's exactly why people have such problem with social media, because it is too accessible.
It is everywhere. Yeah,
it is in your pocket. And I've taken the step to be like I've got no social media on my phone. None.
Same.
Like
Discord. I have Discord on my phone.
I do too. I probably check that too much because it's the only thing I can look at on my phone.
Well, I've gotten to the point where I'm realizing I did it earlier today. Like I grabbed my phone and I'm just like flipping side to side to side, like kind of like the blades on the 360 back in the day. Just, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like that is it's an involuntary action. And I'm just like looking for something to do or stare at on my phone. Like that's really kind of lizard brain kind of taking over there. There's not actually anything that I'm looking to do. I didn't pick it up to do something. I picked it up because it's such a habit to do. But without any notifications or, any emails or anything, like I'm just staring at my dang screen. So hopefully with a little bit more time that will reduce, because my screen time has dropped dramatically since doing that, by the way. I've set I have a 45-minute limit for YouTube, so I'm not flipping through shorts all day long, because that was just destroying things.
I feel that.
And then it actually once I had the limit only on YouTube, and once I capped out my limit there, I found myself even going over to LinkedIn and just to scroll that. I'm like, I am so sick, and I feel comfortable sharing that because I'm sure there's other people there too, like who just reach for their phone to scroll for something. And I'm like, this is very strange. I'm becoming very aware of its grasp on me. So yeah, Twitter, Facebook, I mean, I'm not really on that many social media platforms anyways, but certainly none of them are on my phone, and it's been awesome. That's very recent, actually. The only one thing though that I'll say that I a little bit regret about that is I'm not sharing my running on Twitter anymore, because I can't take the screenshot, and I can't it just, I'd have to go back to the olden days of uploading a photo to my computer and sharing it from there, kind of a thing. So that's the only thing, is I'm not really able to share that on x.com, but oh well.
Yeah, I was doing a similar thing with the games I was finishing, because I was just keeping them there,
I love that.
So I could just keep in order of what I've done.
Yeah,
and because I've only got Twitter on the iPad now. I've got the social media on the iPad. That's where I do what I need to do on there, but it's very intentional when I go to it. Usually, sometimes it actually draws me to pick up the iPad just to scroll, but at least it's not in my pocket all day.
At least, exactly.
Yeah. But what was I saying? I can't remember.
Social media, having it on your phone, not having it on your phone.
Oh yeah. So now I've got to upload that picture to the iPad, just airdrop it, then put it on Twitter. But that's obviously not a big deal. It's pretty simple. But
oh, dude, we were doing this thing with my kids. We brought up the Notepad app, and because everything syncs to the cloud, my kids were drawing with the pencil, and they're picking all their colors, and they're doing all this stuff. And then I looked on my phone. I opened the note. This is not going to be mind blowing for anybody else, but maybe me and my family. But it showed the same thing happening at the same time. So my daughter was drawing a butterfly on the iPad, and it was appearing on my phone in real time. And so they got to do this thing back and forth. One of them was drawing on the iPad, and the other one was watching them draw, but having it appear on the phone. And they just thought that was the greatest thing. It was way more entertaining to watch that picture show up on the phone than to watch them just draw it on the iPad, I guess. I just thought it was really fascinating. I didn't know that that's how that worked. And it was kind of a cool moment as my cat comes to join me. Hello, Max. He's a very loud cat.
Yeah. It's got a very aggressive meow. Just,
yeah, it's not it's not a cute, we're taking care of my brother's dog, and I'm just thinking about him. He's just such a good boy. And then I look at this cat, and cats just sound like what cat? I don't know, man. I'm such a dog person, dude. Cats are fine, and
tell me about it. Yeah, I'm such a dog person too.
It's not even close, honestly.
Yeah, no, I think we could definitely agree on that. Just because with our cat, every time it's it meows at us because it's hungry, which is fair enough. You got to let us know, but at the same time, it's mate, be quiet.
Get out of here, Max.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, gosh.
But if it was my dog being hey mate, I'm hungry. Let me get you some dinner.
I caught myself the way I was talking to both of them. If I talked to my kids that differently, I'd be murdered by my wife. Walk in the door. Hey Max, and I go, hi Blue, what a good boy. Just cares about this damn cat. Give me the dog. Oh my gosh, he's such a sweet boy.
Sweet boy. That would be really traumatizing for your kids if one of them goes
oh
hello.
Hey Lincoln, hey buddy, how are you, buddy? Hey Ellie.
Yeah, hey. What's going on?
Yep.
You brought up your running just before. I really wanted to talk to you about that as well, just with all the progress you've made doing the running and the workout and that. And it wasn't that long ago, but I said I want to get back into running, and I added you on the fitness app. And
Yep.
every now and again, I see yourself and some other people pop up on there, and it's quite nice. But it's been a long time since I've, I guess, been running. Time goes by quickly, and I was super into running in my early 20s. It was like my favorite thing. I looked forward to the end of the day to go for a run, and I really hope I can rekindle some of that. But you've been doing it for a little while now. You've started back up, been on this fitness journey. Would you say you're back where you maybe were in your early 20s, where you absolutely love it, or do you got to push yourself?
I think it's totally different, actually. Like it's on almost every level. Like I'm not nearly as fast as I was, and I'm also not necessarily doing it for the same reasons, I don't think, as when I was in my 20s. Like I wasn't the fastest runner when I was in good shape, but I was pretty good, pretty maybe average, above average slightly, but certainly not like elite or anything. I think my fastest like 5K was maybe somewhere around like 25 minutes, which I think is pretty fast. I think I did a 10K at 52 minutes, which isn't, again, not breaking any records, but like that's pretty good, I think. But I'm nowhere even close to that. My speed it's not even remotely close. But the thing that has really transformed is just it's so cliche. Everything I'm about to say is like super just cliche, guy approaching 40, whatever. But everything is mental. I wish that I could go back and tell my 20-year-old self, like, maybe you could just like try for 15K. Maybe you could try, because I could have done it. Like I was light enough and I was in shape enough to just keep going, but I wasn't mentally strong enough. And unfortunately, that really did show much later in life, where I wasn't mentally resilient enough to handle a lot of things that life was going to throw at me. So that is tricky. I do wish that I had pushed myself when I had time and my body would have been able to recover and all those kinds of things. But yeah, this journey right now is completely different. I'm really trying to focus on not caring about how long the runs take me to travel these distances, and just mainly just seeing literally how far I can go. So I've gotten to the point where I was thinking about it recently. Like, yeah, at one point the highest goal, like the ultimate, the bucket list kind of idea was like to run a half marathon. That was like, who could do that? Like and of course people are running 200-mile races probably right now. But in my mind, like a half marathon was like, holy, that's more than double the 10Ks that I've been really struggling with. So that would be, if I could do that, that's it. That's all I need to do. And I had done one. I think the first time I did a half marathon was in 2019, and then COVID hit, and I just put on just an asinine amount of weight. I think just like maybe a lot of other people, but I put on a ton of weight. I was wearing sweatpants every single day, not moving at all. I had this realization midway through the pandemic when things started to open up a little bit more. And I parked somewhere and I walked from the parking lot into maybe the grocery store and walked back. And I'm like, that's more steps than I typically get in a workday when I sleep upstairs and I come down. Like the number of steps just wasn't enough during COVID. And it got to the point, Drew, where I thought like my running days were like behind me. And that was a very depressing time to think there's another phase of life that's gone forever. Like there's so many phases of life that you can't go back to. You can't go back to high school if that's a thing that you enjoyed. Or for me, I've also, like, I don't play soccer anymore, although I probably could technically go find an old man's league, I'm sure. But there's certain things that pass you by. And I was really sad that running might have passed me by, because I tried to, and my knees would swell up and my ankles were really awful as well. And I just learned that I needed to approach it differently. I couldn't just, when I was in my 20s, I could just like not have a drink of water, not stretch, not warm up, and I'm going to go run a sub 30-minute 5K. Like just not even think about it. And I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed like almost like the competitive nature of it. And I thought that was all gone. Now I realize I just need to stretch. Like there's a pretty, and stretching meant holding a stretch for longer than, a split second. Like
Yeah.
now I'm sure when I go for my runs before and after, I'm stretching for sometimes 45 minutes afterwards. Just a really, like some holds I'm doing for like 2 minutes, just yin yoga kind of stuff. So that's been great. but yeah, when I started this whole journey of like, I just wanted to move again. I kept throwing out my back, and I felt like I wasn't able to contribute around the house. And I'm like, I know we talk about feeling old, but I look at like my parents, I look at some other like older people out there, and they would kill to be my age. Like
$100%.
they would love to be able to switch places with me. And here I am going, oh, I'm so old. I'm whatever, 38, I'm 39, I'm 37. It's terrible. And yeah, you talk to a 50-year-old, you talk to a 70-year-old, you talk to an 80-year-old, and it's all coming for us. Like that's the thing that it's running through my mind, that stuff is coming for us. Um, so let's get moving. And so I prioritize that a lot, even just to the point of I'm just gonna go walk. And if that's all I can get in, then that's great. I'm gonna go for a longer walk than I have ever gone before. I'm gonna go for an hour and a half walk. And that's where it started. And before I knew it, it was very natural for me, Drew, where I was going for these walks and I'm like kind of bored. I got a little bit of a skip in my step. I'll jog for a little bit. And it's very, again, very cliche. These long walks turned into short runs, turned into a little bit longer runs. And before I knew it, I did another half marathon at some point. And then the next stage is, okay, well, what if the half marathon isn't like the year goal? What if it isn't like, okay, this year I'm going to do one half marathon? It was actually just this year where I decided, what if I did like a half marathon every month? Like, what would that take? What if it wasn't this big deal that I did that? And that's where you're finding me right now. Is I decided that back in May, I think, April or May. I did one right alongside Marcus O'Neill. Him and I did one, and I didn't do it. He did it way faster. He's very good at this stuff. And so I did that one, and I was like, what if I found one for May, June, July, August, and September? And then and then the snow falls, and we're not allowed outside at all. We all get back into our caves and whatnot. So I found something to do every month from April or May until October. And so April and May was April, May, and June were half marathons. July was my bike ride. And you might have seen on Twitter, I just signed up for a marathon in a couple of weeks. So I'm going to do that. I guess.
Yeah.
That'll be my first. And so that's, I'm terrified of it. Maybe we can get to that in a second, but right now, I was humming and hawing, and I kept saying to my wife, like, I think I might do this. But I'm really scared of it. I'm really having a hard time with it, honestly, of what that's going to be like and how difficult that's going to be, all that. So like a lot of anxiety around it. And I had this thought earlier this week, just before I signed up for it. This is what ended up pushing me over the edge was, what am I waiting for exactly? Like, what is this going to be easier when I'm 40 than when I'm 39? Is it going to be easier when I'm 41? Probably not. Like, this stuff is only getting harder. That's the whole thing that I'm realizing is I'm actually not even getting better at running. I'm not getting any faster, but I'm able to do it pretty often now. And I don't die at the end of a half marathon anymore. So that's kind of nice. So yeah, I had this it's been a journey for sure. I had this big realization, 40 will be harder than 39. So I might as well do it at 39. And that kind of adds a little bit of urgency, I think, to almost everything in life. I really am translating that to a lot of other things of, this is probably easier now than it will be next year. That's the stage of life that I'm in now, where when you're younger, like, you'll be stronger when you're 8 than when you were at 7. You'll be more capable at 15 than at 13, I don't know. I think it flips a little bit maybe at 40, but that's kind of what is motivating me a little bit right now.
Yeah, it's contagious too, because like I said, I used to love running, and it was just such a great thing, obviously for your physical and your health, but it's the best thing I've ever done for my mental health.
Oh man,
it completely changed me, honestly. And how I really fell out of it was like playing soccer. I broke my leg, and going from like being addicted to running to being in the place where you can't do it and you lose all of your progress in that. Like, that's probably like the most depressed I've been in my life. One high to another.
Losing the progress.
Yeah. Because like what happened was like I gained that confidence like just the year out of high school. I'm like, fuck it. Like I was real shy with girls. So I was like, I'm gonna ask this girl out. And I did. And then I broke my leg. Then after a couple of dates, whatever, she like, said not interested type of thing. And all just went like downhill from there. But it
Yeah.
was just like a really important thing that I feel like now as a dad, I want to be able to keep up with my kids. I think that's probably
Oh yeah.
something
Same.
you're thinking about as well. Where you need to keep up with these little rat bags running around, and you don't want to be like, oh look, dad's a bit puffed. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
you want to make most of that 10 years or that 15 years when they actually want to make some memories with you. So
Big time.
that's something I think about. And when I was running, I basically my mindset was like the max I'll do is 10 Ks, but I want to beat my
Same.
time. I want to beat my time.
Same.
Yeah. But after like, hearing you talk about the half marathons, I'm like, that's a great goal that I haven't accomplished before.
Oh, you should totally do it. Do it,
Yeah.
Drew. You could totally do it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
With time and practice. Yeah. I had a look online, and this is just a problem with Australia in general. It's just everything's so spread out. So it would be like I would have to travel at least to Adelaide, about 4 hours. There's nothing really local, which is a shame. I did a couple of marathons. Or triathlons. Sorry.
What?
No. A triathlon, not a marathon.
That's crazy. That's amazing. Holy cow. I can't do that.
It wasn't the full one, but it was the swimming. Swimming, bike and run.
That's incredible.
And I was good at the running. Good at the running, good at the swimming. My mum's a really good swimmer, so she put me in swimming lessons early.
Oh, I'm awful.
So I was good at the swimming. And then the bike, I borrowed my mum's old mountain bike. And it slowed me down so much up and down hills. I'm like clicking down gears and all these blokes in their lycra, in their like aerodynamic bikes are zooming past me. I'm like, it wasn't serious, but
you can see the slipstream off of them. Like,
it's
just so aerodynamic.
It's just funny in hindsight, like pretty good at these other things when the bike ride was just fucked.
No, that would be I would be doing like the backstroke on the swim. I'd just be like, can I just get to the end of this thing? Then put me on a bike, give me some running shoes. That would be good. But the triathlon is something that like I would get a tattoo at the end of it. I'd be like, I did a triathlon.
It wasn't it wouldn't have been a full one, but I don't know how
the
long
Ironmans are crazy. Like Ironman's finished with a marathon. What is it? It's like 5K swim and like 200-kilometer bike and then 42-kilometer run. I think is an Ironman. That's insane. It would take me a week. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't think I could do the swim. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. So kudos to you for the triathlon, man. But do a half marathon. If you're racing for 10Ks, you could do a half marathon. And you'll be so happy you did. That's what I'll impart on you.
Yeah. I think it's great. Like I remember you questioning like whether you should be posting like your running stuff on Twitter. I'm like, no, it's absolutely fantastic. Like I say it, I'm like, oh yeah, I should try and get back into that. Like
do it.
But then eventually
we're in different stages though too. Like my kids are a little bit older, so 18 months. Like I wasn't doing this with an 18-month-old kid. So things change a little bit. The demands of the parents change and school comes into play. There's that too. So
because my wife, she works in her gym business at night. So I have Lucas from 6 o'clock onwards. So basically the nighttime routine. So it's hard to find the time. Like after work, I can't just go, all right, put on the shoes and run necessarily.
Yeah, you're also physical for your job too, which I am not.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a bonus, but it's even like shearing, which is very physically demanding. You're still not getting your cardio. You're not sitting at a computer, but a lot of the boys I work with, they drink more beer than they can keep up with shearing. So so we're not all in the best shape just from shearing, but I feel like that's worse for you. Just all of your joints and your back and everything's just knackered.
Joints are pretty
Whereas
tough.
if you go to the gym, you can target all of the different areas of your body and work it out from there.
No, I highly encourage it, man, just to be able to like watch yourself push through. And whether it's signing up for a race, that was the other kind of big change this year, was realizing I could just run the distance. I didn't have to sign up for a race. And so that was like, this year has a first for me in that sense. Like I've done a half marathon where it wasn't a race. There was no finish line. There's nothing at the end. So I've done a few of those, and that's also cool. Like, that's a moment, you know, like you could quit at any time. You just like, I don't want to do this anymore. There's literally like no reason to be doing this other than to do the thing.
Is that on Twitter where you were just like ended up in the middle of nowhere and you posted that? Is that what you're doing?
There's some of that too. And on my birthday, so far, that was the furthest I've run. So which was 24 kilometers. And this is why I'm a little bit nervous about 42. It's a big jump from 24 to 42.
Yeah, that's massive. You'll kill it.
But I do feel like on that run, and there's been 2 times in particular where I felt like I was out there. I wasn't running fast or anything. There's nothing special about it, but I'm like, I really did feel like I could just go forever. And that is pretty freeing. If you're able to find enough time, and I think that's been the biggest thing for me too, Drew, is when I feel like I'm time constrained, those are my worst runs. And when I feel like I've got enough time to take my time, then I actually perform better and go further and all these other things. But yeah, I've kind of discovered I can get off the main kind of road here, and there's a highway just not that far, and I can go forever, and just this beautiful countryside, and just very safe because there's not really all that many cars around, and it's just you. And I've got David Goggins screaming in my ear going like, you're only at 40%, you can go further and stay hard and all this other stuff. And I don't know, it's been an awesome thing. It's probably been one of the best decisions, and has put so many other things in perspective, as far as like, what am I focusing my time and energy on? Focusing on my health and my longevity, and challenging myself and building up the mental resiliency and all this other stuff, like, is so much more rewarding than like worrying about anything else. Like, worrying about anything else is so I feel like I'm super powered at work these days. Cause like, yeah, there's a lot of stresses and everything, but it's like, we'll get through it. Like, the first 5 kilometers of a run sucks, but we get past that too. You know, there's all this other stuff that you have in your bank that you can go, I've done hard stuff. And that's to your point about earlier about like doing the running for the kids. Yes, I want to keep up with them, but I also, very much like my dad has done for me, like my dad still is very active. He's 70, but he was playing ball hockey at 65. You know, like, he's shown me that it is very possible to stay active well into your, you know, middle to late stages of life. So if I can do that for my kids, like, show them that in this house, we are charitable. We are going to like live in service of other people. We're going to raise money for other people. We're going to make sure people are taken care of as best that we can do that. We're going to push ourselves. We're going to, you know, do things that are hard, like, cause there's a lot of good stuff that can come out of that. That's probably even a bigger reason than keeping up with my kids. I don't know that I'll ever be able to like keep up with them. They wake up and they're just like, you know, they do the monkey bars and everything. Like, that's another level of fitness that I've yet to reach, but it really is about showing what is capable, because my mom has always kind of like scared me away from the half marathons and the marathons. I tell her, I'm like, I'm thinking about this stuff, and she's like, oh, Sean, like, that's too much. And like, people aren't meant to do marathons, is what she would often say. And like, I guess I shouldn't do a marathon. And like, that does have an impact. I'm not mad at her for saying that kind of thing, but like, that did keep me from trying it. And I totally would have been capable at 20, 22, 25. I was in the best shape of my life. So yeah, showing my kids like that they are definitely capable of more than they could possibly imagine. And by sharing this with you and anybody listening, like, that's really what I'm trying to do. This is not a pat on the back for me, because I'm not doing a very great job of it, but I am discovering I can go way farther than I ever thought. And that's what everybody should experience in life. You can do way more than you think. Anytime people put a limitation on themselves, I still put limitations on myself, but it's like, man, go for it. Just, you can do it. You can absolutely just do the thing, man. Do the house party. It's going to be hard.
Yes.
Do the extra life. It's going to be tricky. Do the podcast, do the whatever it is. It doesn't have to be running, but like, do the thing that scares you. Like, because I'll tell you, man, this marathon, I've taken the day after off. Like I'm not going into work the next day. I'm just like, I'm in recovery mode. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to go for it. And I signed up because it's terrifying to me. So
How many weeks until the marathon?
it is in 9 days.
Oh, 9 days.
Yeah,
I'll try and keep that
very
in my
soon.
mental bank, and I'll be thinking of you. I hope you go well. I'm sure
Thanks, man.
you'll go well. I'm sure the last half will be hard. There's no doubt about that. But
gonna be a journey. But so was the first half marathon. That's the thing I'll be thinking of. Like the first time I did, like, holy, how long is this? But it's possible. People do it all the time. So yeah,
it's great because I think a lot about being a good influence now that I'm a dad. I think about so much more of my actions.
Big time.
You know, even the social media thing, like I don't want my son on his phone just scrolling Twitter or whatever. So why should I do it? So got to make sure I set the habits. And it's amazing that running can play just such a big role in that. It sounds so simple, but
it is.
Even if someone out there hates running, just exercise in general. Find something that, you know, you might be naturally good at or you enjoy or whatever, and just start from there. Because I know for me, I love running. But when it comes to like riding a bike, I find riding a bike really boring. I don't know why.
Yeah. Oh,
when it comes
it's
to,
uncomfortable. Yeah. No, and that's why I had to sign up for another ride next year, because I did this ride a couple weeks ago. I'm like, that sucked. I guess that means I have to do it again. Like that's really it. Yeah, anybody who doesn't really like naturally come to running, walking is excellent. But I would also encourage people to take on that sort of mentality. It's a little bit hardcore. It's a little nuts to think about, but like the thing that you hate to do, you have to do that. Like I gotta say, you know, these are very rewarding experiences that I'm having at these runs. I'm not happy. I'm having a terrible time, Drew. Like I'm sitting there going, this sucks. This is like, how much further do I have to go? And when I finally get home, I'm gonna be in pain and all this stuff. Like trust me, there is very little glorious about any of it. Like, yeah, I'm a miserable old man doing the thing, but I've learned that that's why I'm doing it, honestly. So that's been a big turn for me too. I used to love running. I used to legitimately enjoy it out there. And now it's not an active enjoyment of the running. It's more of a good for me kind of thing. It's very much a pat myself on the back and not like a, this is great. And I'm just like, this stride feels awesome. And look how beautiful. Like that's not the experience I'm having like at all, dude. I wish it was, but no, I'd much rather be sitting at home. That's what I want to do.
I think a lot of us would just be like, all right, the brand new game came out. I'd much rather play that. But, you know, it's important that we're, you know, try and keep on the healthy side of things and we're at the optimum health so we can actually play these games when they come out.
Play more games. Exactly. Yeah, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Bobby scared me a little bit. Well, not a little bit, a lot, you know, just I wish that he was in more I wish his body was more ready for COVID than sadly it was. I don't know if that's a factor. You know, it seemed like that was a thing back when COVID was around, was there were certain comorbidities to it. And, you know, Bobby spent a lot of time making content. And we often talked about like if he spent even half the time making content, dedicated half that time to health, then who knows what would have happened. So yeah, a dedication to longevity is a lot of part of this as well. So that can also be a pretty keen motivator for you when you're thinking about just like giving up and going home. It's like, yeah, well, you want to build up your heart and your immune system and all this other stuff and just be healthy and be around for a long time for the people around you, man, the people who count on you and people you like being around.
Yeah, for sure. It's I remember you guys having those conversations. I think it was even just on the Patreon side of things where you guys were talking and Bobby was like, hey, look, I'm working things out. And yeah, it's it is pretty harrowing to think back
Tomorrow
to.
Is not guaranteed, dude. Like that's the thing. It's been a few years since he's passed, but like I've still not forgotten that part. Tomorrow, there is no guarantee. So yeah, I'm and I guess I'm kind of proud about that because that's the sort of thing that you can go like in the moment when it's obvious, you live that, but after time, like you can definitely just like life can kind of take back over. But no, I really do think I live most days going, yeah, I made the most out of that. That's been part of this running journey, is just trying to make sure that I'm setting my sights high and trying to do great things, and one step at a time, one day at a time. So I'll do a long run tomorrow or the next day. I'll probably do 30 so that I can get ready for this 42. But yeah.
Yeah, we need
It
you
all started
around to
with walks.
celebrate episode 1000 of the Xbox Drive. So
1000. Yes.
Yeah.
When they
Jeez
don't
Louise.
make Xboxes anymore, we'll still be making the Xbox Drive.
Yeah,
they'll
probably,
move on to just
honestly,
cloud.
probably there's no way there's an Xbox console around episode 1000 of the Xbox Drive.
Well, yeah, what is that? Like, 300 is like 6 years. So yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
No
that's
way.
pretty far into the
No way
future.
there's an
They
Xbox
might
there.
have Fallout 5 by then. Maybe we'll
Hopefully.
have the next Fallout game.
Just.
Yeah.
If you're lucky. Oh, God.
Yeah, man.
Well, I've had you for a long time. I really appreciate it. But just before we go, what's some things you're really excited for for the rest of this year? Games that are coming out? Maybe, I don't know, it might be a comic book. It could be anything. What is something you're really keen to dive into when it comes out later this year?
How much time? Dude, there's another 3. Starfield is coming out. I'm stoked about space. I did order a little something to celebrate Starfield. I cannot wait to share with you guys what that is. Forza Motorsport, I adore most racing games.
I forgot
in general,
about
but
that. Yes,
especially everybody's
wait.
forgetting about it. So that's why I'm glad that you asked, because it's like Forza is just kind of like it's on the other side of a lot of this other stuff. And
I can't wait for Forza either. I'm a big fan. And it's been years since a motorsport game. How's it been this long?
Yeah, I mean, everybody thought the Xbox Series was gonna launch with it, because that's the way it should have gone. We got Forza Horizon 5 since then. Spider-Man, same day as Mario Wonder, of course. Like, those are, can't believe that's happening. We talked about WarioWare Move It, which is incredible. What else am I forgetting, man? I can't wait to maybe finally play Baldur's Gate eventually here. But Starfield is imminent, and Forza comes to mind. Like, this is my kind of year, man. Like, I'm so, like, on the fitness level, on the gaming level, like, it's all good. So very excited. I don't know about comics though. I actually don't really keep up necessarily like in the same way about video games as I am about like comics that are coming out. And on the comic side, I'm mostly on like collected edition stuff. So like right now, this is Kraven's Last Hunt, which I was inspired to read because I think Kraven is in the next Spider-Man game. So I'm like, who the hell is that guy? So find out about that. But I don't know.
I had no idea who he was when he was in the trailer. I'm like,
everybody's like, oh, it's Kraven. If you say so.
Yeah.
All right.
He wasn't in the Spider-Man movies. I don't know him.
I know. Well, and seeing like some of these collected editions too, it's like it goes from the Amazing Spider-Man run to like the Web of Spider-Man to Spider-Man versus Wolverine, which is like this offshoot thing, and they pull it all together. And like, how is anybody supposed to follow any of that? And it's very much like what the MCU is now. You got some TV shows over here, you got some movies over there. So I guess if you're Marvel, then this is nothing new. But for the rest of us, like, the hell, like, I have no idea. But I think those are probably. I'm just looking at a list of games that are coming up here, but I think those are probably the big ones, I would say. Yeah,
it's going to be a great year. It's already been an awesome year. I don't know if I need much more. Pretty, like, honestly.
Call of Duty. Shout out to Call of Duty. I'm the only one excited. I'm the only one who will admit that I like Call of Duty, but I do.
Has there been gameplay yet, or
Call of Duty? Not yet.
Just a logo?
By this time maybe by the time people hear this, perhaps. But at this moment, not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, keen to see what it. I've had an itching for Call of Duty, but I'm trying to stick to my guns and be like, I don't really want to spend money on it. I'm very much waiting for Game Pass. Get this deal through.
Oh, dude, it's years. Yeah. It's still 2025. Like,
I know. Yeah. I can wait.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, not like there's nothing else to play. So
yeah,
I will be buying it. I love it, man. Call of Duty. Oh, so good.
Because did you like because some people love the campaign for Modern Warfare 2, but remember you not being too hung up on it too much?
I thought it was fine. Well, you know what I'd say about that? It was better than the Cold War, the Black Ops Cold War one. I did not like that one very much at all.
It's the last one I played. Yeah.
It was all. Yeah, I don't think I even finished it, honestly. just played the multiplayer on that one. So yeah, Modern War, I don't know what this might be also a maybe they're just doing it perfectly because I like the original Modern Warfare game. So just give me more of that and I'm good. So nice clean shooter. It looks good, it runs fast, and it's good times.
Yeah, on Switch one day, who knows?
It will come to Switch. There's a contract, my friend.
Yes, they can't say no now. They're like, oh, what have we done?
Exactly.
Well, signed with the devil Nintendo.
Dang.
So, yeah, give us your shooty game.
Yeah. Then Phil Spencer won't be able to talk. It's like he signed a contract with Ursula from The Little Mermaid. Keep singing.
Poor Phil Spencer.
Oh, Phil, poor Uncle Phil.
No, he's a good man. But anyway, Sean, I really appreciate your time. This has been a long one. It's been great to catch up with you again, and I'm sure everybody enjoyed the conversation if they got to this point. If they didn't, they would have jumped off.
Yeah. Well, they didn't want to hear any talk about running. They just completely tuned out, which I don't blame them. You know, it can be a little blowhardy, and I get it. But if people did reach to the end, maybe I don't know. Do you do like do like a hashtag at the end with a special code? Like, let us know that you reached the end.
Yeah.
You know?
So, what do you think the hashtag should be?
Oh, I was gonna tell you, man. I'm at the end of the day, Nick. Here.
Oh, okay. That's no worries. I don't have to put the pressure on you then. What about get in the car?
Get in the car. I'm down.
Get in the car.
I like it. Hashtag get in the car. I like it. Yeah. Let us know you made it to the end. I love that, dude. That's so good.
Wasn't my idea, but will take it. No, it was great to catch up with you. And I've got to be honest, this is a very selfish podcast series for me. I just like catching up with people. So
I'm with you, dude.
While everything's not talking about Nintendo or games, it doesn't matter. You can skip it if you like. You know, it's all good.
This is just what happens. I like it. It's very fun, man. It's very cool to catch up with you, and we don't get the opportunity to do it often enough. So why not do it for 3 hours? You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And now that I'm doing this, I'll make sure we do it more than once a year or so. I'll send you a message every now and again and go, "Oi, when you're free,
Mr. Prime Minister.
Oi, Sean, when you're free, mate."
Love it, dude. Well, let me know when you're setting up your House of Mario thing, and good luck on your half marathon, my friend.
Thank you. I got some jobs to do now. I got to do a half marathon, organize a meetup.
Bet you didn't expect that, dude. We said that we don't want to be on a phone call because there's an obligation at the end of the phone calls, and look what I just did to you. So I take it all back. You owe me nothing. It was just cool to hang out with you tonight.
Well, it's funny because that's a good pressure because they are things I want to do.
Yeah.
But just a little bit of a push from my Canadian friend.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a hypocrite.
Isn't such a bad thing.
Sorry, man.
But for the rest of yous, the doors are closed. Catch you later.
I still hear it in my head.
Boosh. The House of Mario, a Nintendo podcast, is recorded in the southeast of South Australia. It is produced by me, Drew Agnew, and is supported by my kind and generous housemates at patreon.com/idrewby. Call in for my behind-the-scenes podcast, Secret Recordings, and Heaps Good, the South Aussie take on a conversational show with my good friend Josh of Nintendvania. A huge shout out to the legends who support me at the iDrewby Patreon Mega Feed tier or higher on Patreon, including Brendan Myers, Oliver Chaston, Samuel Hay, DJ, and Lemonade. Let's continue to make passionate Nintendo content as we climb the stairs to 300. Thank you.